On 1620, The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Bright and chilly for your Monday with the high today in Omaha of 44, but feeling like the upper 30s this afternoon. Expect westerly winds up to 15 miles an hour today. Staying mostly clear with a few partly cloudy conditions as we head overnight tonight. Becoming windy, cold, an overnight low of 24, but feeling like 10. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
1620, The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a little bit of slowdown from 192nd to 186th on Center. Then along L Street, there's a bit of a minor slowdown near 102nd. And other than that, it looks like your commute this morning should be pretty smooth, even if you're running a bit late. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Fernando's.
Reason number 87 to get your Fernando's fix during football season.
World Series? Never heard of her.
For tailgates, watch parties, or just an ordinary Saturday, get your Fernando's fix. FernandosOmaha.com.
I'm Red Lewis with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. Russell Wilson tossed 3 touchdown passes and Patrick Mahomes threw 2 interceptions as the Broncos shocked the Chiefs 24-9. Denver's first win over Kansas City since 2015. The Jets outlasted the Giants 13-10 in overtime in the Battle of New York. Jets kicker Greg Zuerlein hitting a game-tying field goal at the end of regulation and won it with a 33-yard field goal in overtime. Joe Burrow tossed for 3 scores as the Bengals handed the 49ers their 3rd straight loss, 31-17. Jalen Hurts threw 4 touchdown passes as the Eagles beat the Commanders 38-31. Eagles now 7-1. Will Levis tied an NFL record with 4 touchdown passes in his first career game as the Titans beat the Falcons 28-23. The Vikings spear quarterback Kirk Cousins suffered a season-ending torn Achilles in their 24-10 win over the Packers, according to NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
Retired or retiring soon? How much money do you need to live comfortably? Retirement Planners of America is here for you. Would you like to have financial peace of mind? Here's how. Step 1. Find out the amount of money you'll need to retire. Step 2, have a plan to get there. Step 3, make sure that plan can take advantage of market gains but protect you from market losses. Discover how to do all 3 with a free consultation at 800-508-6108. That's 800-508-6108.
All investments involve risk, including losses. Past performance does not guarantee future results.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month, but you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio. Sponsored by Age of...
Host is roasting every morning. Host is roasting every day.
Put your coffee department in good hands with Host Coffee Service, providing direct delivery and loan coffee equipment with service programs. If you're ready to change to a better coffee provider, it's time for Host Coffee.
Omaha's best coffee since 1972. Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
Home is where your health is, where your family gathers together, takes care of each other. And right there with you is Nebraska Medicine. We're proud to take care of Nebraska, to deliver everything your family needs. From immediate care to neurosurgery, it's expertise you can be confident in. With locations throughout the region and telehealth appointments from the comfort of home. Find a provider close to you at nebraskamed.com.
Home is with you wherever that may be.
The Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Email me, Connor Happer, with the Connor Happer Show at Connor, CONNOR, at 1620thezone.com. Send me your love, your hate, and maybe a few hot takes. The Zone Inbox, presented by Equitable Bank.
Reading is an important key to student success. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. Take your young reader to the library, get some great books, sit down and read together, and help your more advanced readers find books they'll enjoy on their own. Also know that most public libraries let you borrow ebooks that can be downloaded to your smartphones, tablets, or laptops.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
Hi, I can help whoever's next.
Cooper's Overnight Shipping Company has to deliver the goods.
Ship these gifts to your grandkids.
They need a logistics manager to keep the wheels turning.
126 packages going to Toronto, Tuscaloosa, Montreal, and Minneapolis. Oh boy.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun.
Fun isn't hard.
Right. Babbel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make it fun and engaging, so you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life. You can choose from topics like travel, business, relationships, and more. You'll learn what matters most to you. Plus, Babbel's lessons are designed to get you speaking right away. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations.
Just 3 weeks? Even better.
Since Babbel's lessons are designed by language experts and voiced by real native speakers, you'll get the accents just right and be able to carry on conversations with confidence.
Learning a language with Babbel doesn't take long.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
And now, try Babbel free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
1620 The Zone.
Plays this one in the end zone. Touchdown! Padoni from Harvard. Nebraska strikes first. Going deep. Card, middle of the field. It's intercepted. Tommy Hill with the pick. Still on his feet. Making Boilermakers miss. After the turnover. He's got a man. Harvard going deep. Caught. Touchdown Huskers. Jalen Lloyd. His first career touchdown. Free Hill got it blocked. In stride. Here come the Huskers. Newsome. 6. Hold was good. Kick is up. Long enough. And good enough. For 55, a career long for Tristan Albano. Harburg to run it again. Falls out. Another fumble forced by Thieneman, who's got it at the bottom. Now finally they say Purdue recovers. 3 turnovers from your offense and you're still pitching a shutout. Kehar said that all kinds of time. Card looking for help. Card down the middle. Caught. Touchdown. Jaden Dixon-Veal with the score. Shutout no more.
Live from 50th and Capitol Avenue in the Big O. This is Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and 1620 The Zone TV. Now here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy.
I just got 3 things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
Good morning. Good Monday morning, everybody. We're talking a lot of football. We got the World Series, Game 3 tonight. Maybe the most best development, which is just terrible English to begin the week, most best, is that for all of us that live around there, today I think is a big, big day. Huge day. Huge day. It's been going on for a long time. It has been the angst of a lot of people, but I am told through a birdie that I'm going to steal a little traffic from Chris, the traffic guy, is 90th and Center should be back to normal. For anybody that, if you know, you know, that intersection has been an absolute mess for over a year, and I was told that it should be
taken care of.
Oh,
that's
a big Monday.
Halloween mirror.
Do you guys ever?
No, so I avoid that area. I really have no.
You don't come
reason.
over in our bougie District 66 area.
I don't. You guys, you look down on my type, so I just I go the other way. I go north of that. I have not been in the 90th and Center area. Probably no more than once in the last year, because I know that like the mess, the construction you're talking about. I don't even remember why I was out in that area. It's been a while, but I have heard more than just you, other people like actually.
Oh, it's a complete
talk about the headache that it is.
Boondoggle. People got to merge. They don't merge. They try and be Mr. I'm going to speed up and get ahead of everybody.
Oh yeah,
and then we need to bond together so we don't let that person in.
Yes,
kind of thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I can get on board with that. When you try to block them out, it's a team effort. You're like, all right, see this person right here, trying to cut in line. Don't let it happen.
I know we need to be stronger with that. Like that's the people are way too nice when it comes to that. If you're going to be that person that sees the sign and you speed up, just to get in front of people, then we need to bond together to keep you out of merging.
Because you're telling me your time is more valuable than my time, and no, sorry, that's not going to fly.
Telling you,
that's not going to fly.
I got that little nugget here, a little text when I was walking in, because this person knows that I've been like, wow, when are they ever going to finish the bridge so that is not a mess? I'm like, Jack, this is awesome.
Good folks of attending ball games at Toll Park. If that's still a thing.
And
Gonna be really, really pumped up.
Where's Toll Park?
Toll Park is like it'd be on the west side of 90th and Center. Little park right there. That's like catty-corny to 90th and Center. Yeah.
Where they got a baseball field with no infield grass?
Yes. That one.
That appears to be.
I don't even know if they even play games.
Yeah,
there.
no, they still play there.
Okay, good.
They still play there.
That was the big
All right,
ballpark.
so-
That was for the Cardinals back when I was growing up.
So that's good stuff for today. So all of us that live in that neighborhood, this could be a good day. Don't let me down, city, or whoever's in charge of that. Take care of it. Make sure that it's open.
Keep it open.
Oh, it's a mess.
It should be a ceremony.
Keep it open.
Absolute mess.
Treasure it. Cherish it.
And I used to say, would Nebraska make a bowl game before they wrapped up that construction? This might be a race.
Oh,
This
man.
might be a race.
If they only beat Minnesota.
They got
All right.
5 days.
I am so glad that they decided not to play football anywhere yesterday. They just decided to take Sunday off around America. No football was played. All of it is on Saturday. We don't have to talk about whatever happened on Sunday.
I'm good with
Yesterday
that.
was a great day.
Yeah.
No, it
For
was
one
not.
out of three of us.
No, it was not. Football was a mess yesterday. I don't care if you were the Cowboys or our two teams. Football just seemed like a total mess.
Yeah, that Jets-Giants game left a lot to
Oh
be
my
desired.
God, that was that even made the Big Ten West blush. Just bad football. Plus, it was quarterback carnage, which was unfortunate.
Poor Kirk Cousins.
And Kirk Cousins, 35 years old. His career is kind of up in the air.
Yeah.
Upcoming free agency, won't have a team, and now he's got the long road back after suffering an Achilles injury. And the long road back for the Vikings, where they get to 500 and they beat their rival, and they can't even celebrate it.
Right.
Yeah, that was a rough day yesterday. But football was rough yesterday, so there'll be no talk about whatever happened on Sunday. Okay,
I'm good. I'm cool with that.
Oh, I'm fine as well. The only talk about Sunday will be why my tight end was at Game 1 of the World Series.
Oh,
I still
wondered
can't
that
figure that
too.
out. I don't. It's not like the Royals were playing.
Cleveland.
He went to Texas, and
And Pat wasn't with him.
I just couldn't figure that
He
out.
wasn't even hanging out with Jordan Spieth or Scotty Scheffler. What the hell?
No, that was very, very odd.
They had bad seats, by the way.
But Saturday was a good day of football, an exceptional day of football. We're in a strange place around here. It's the 30th of October. We're about to go trick-or-treating tomorrow, which I am finding out more. Adult trick-or-treating is back, baby. Not adult trick-or-treating, because you can do that any day of the year. But adult Halloween? Like adult Halloween, because Rach and I want to go out tomorrow night. So I'm searching around.
Bonefish?
Mm-hmm.
That's on a Wednesday.
Oh, that's right.
You got to get off the bonefish, Jimmy.
It sounds
You
good.
got to expand your horizons. There's a lot of stuff to do for adults on Halloween around here.
Really?
Yeah. But we're like in a strange place because we don't know what to do. It's the 30th of October, and Nebraska football is in a 4-way tie for first in the Big Ten West, and they are one win away from possibly taking us to Vegas on the 23rd of December, or Phoenix, or New York City, or Nashville.
Might just be before or after Christmas.
I like how Detroit has moved out of the conversation.
Oh, it's yeah. I had some good speaks with somebody that would be in the know, and they're not completely in the know because everything is speculation right now. They did not mention Detroit.
Hey,
that's good.
All right.
They said Vegas is a preferred destination.
And that one's on the 20th. So
That's
the
Sphere.
Phoenix will be 26, right?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, so you're looking at either before, maybe getting home in time for your family Christmas, or leaving your family Christmas early to watch a bowl game.
I think most people would prefer to do that.
But it is a strange place. Like I was listening to Big Red Overreaction driving back from the game and being at the game. I don't know how people know how to react. Like Nebraska football just finished October 3-0.
Yeah,
they are on a winning streak. They have won 5 of 6. Somehow, some way, they just keep winning, and now they enter the month of November. And I've already broke it down. What the path is to win the Big Ten West. Strange times indeed. It's the balance of, man, shouldn't we be enjoying this more this season, or what is going on?
Yeah,
I just sit back and enjoy it, man.
You have to at this point. Like
Marinates in you.
It's exactly how we all probably felt in the fourth quarter of that Illinois game. You're watching this game play out where you have a dominant defensive effort, and yet you cannot hold on to the football to save your life. Yet you're looking at the scoreboard and you're like, well, the other team doesn't seem to be doing anything about it because this defense is so good. So it is that I've been using this word a lot throughout this year where you're conflicted. I think conflict is probably the time to just now remove that and just say, this is what it is. I mean, the offense is what it is. And I think we've all kind of accepted that. The thing that I think still drives people crazy because it's something that doesn't need to be a thing every week is the turnovers, is the inability to hold on to the football. And at what point, when you continue to do that, will a team actually take advantage of? And the good news is you don't have these offensive juggernauts that remain on the schedule. I was watching, I don't know why I put myself through this, especially when the Kansas Oklahoma game went to a delay. I was watching that Northwestern Maryland game. Maryland ain't right either.
Well, Maryland was right in September.
Yes, they were.
As they are every year.
Mm-hmm. And that team defensively, I remember that was kind of like the developing story of like, well, you got Talia Tagovailoa and you've got this offense that they always recruit well on that side. That's the defense. I'm watching the same quarterback that had the most challenging time completing a forward pass against Nebraska, just like run all over and carve up this Maryland defense. So I'm watching that because, as we all do, most of us probably feel like we've got a gauge on Michigan State, and you start seeing any opportunities of, okay, then maybe if that Michigan State game doesn't go well, then it would be Maryland. Okay, what is Maryland looking like? And you're watching that game, I'm just thinking to myself, it wasn't even like, okay, you just put the Northwestern Maryland score up there and be like, oh, all right, so we're good. No, watch Maryland play. They can still do some things. Like Talia Tagovailoa is a good quarterback. Their offense, they've got some things that they can do, but everything is pitch and catch, just kind of nickel and diamond their way down the field. I would love to see Nebraska's defense against that.
Well, so a little bit later, I've ranked the degree of difficulty of the 4 remaining teams.
Love it.
I will tell you that Maryland's the last team on there. That's so essentially that's the easiest game, in my opinion, that Nebraska has remaining is Maryland.
I'd still put Michigan State up there.
Oh, yeah.
Maryland would be
in your 4.
Maryland would be probably just in front because Michigan State doesn't even know what they're going to do at quarterback right now. So now you've got.
I'll explain.
That going on. Oh yeah, that's fine. That's
Michigan
fine.
State's not. I think Maryland's the easiest. I just
2 weeks ago I wouldn't have said that. Now I could. I look at
2
Maryland.
weeks ago they got beat by Illinois.
Yeah, that's it exactly.
So
after that game, well,
yeah, that's why I have them as
fluky.
4th. That's why I have them as 4th. But they go to Michigan State this weekend to play. So there are a couple of things about Saturday. One, and then there's things that both can be true. Purdue is awful. Okay, Purdue is the worst team in the West Division. That's a bad football team. That is a team that is very poorly coached, especially defensively. They were all over the map against an offense that is pedestrian. There's also something that happened on Saturday watching that game is the 2023 Nebraska team beat the other side of the ball and the other sideline that is a collection of like the last 5 years of Nebraska football. So why I say that Purdue is takes on the identity of past Nebraska teams is mentally they're not very strong.
Mm-hmm.
They're very, very sloppy. They ride the roller coaster of a game. mean, for some reason, Purdue is now on this run because last year they talked crap the whole game to Trey Palmer. That's all they did on Saturday. They wouldn't shut up. Okay, you're 2-5. Shut your mouth. Okay, that's all they did. They ran their mouth. Now, Tommy Hill doesn't shut up either. I mean, Tommy Hill is constantly talking the entire game. But for the most part, Nebraska's guys don't chirp back. But Purdue's guys, the whole game, were chirping. And there were some big car collisions in that game. But what Purdue is what Nebraska has been. Mentally, they fall apart when they make a mistake. They look poorly coached. They have maybe a stretch of 5 to 7 minutes of good football, and then they just completely disappear. And the 23 team right now is doing something, and you have to be in the moment. I got in this long discussion. Chafe and I did the Sunday side session on Husker 24/7. So we got into this long discussion. Nebraska has overcome a hurdle that has been very difficult around here to do, and that is beating teams that have comparable talent.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Purdue and Nebraska aren't super far apart in terms of talent, but the way that they are built and the mental edge from one team to the other and how well they're coached at all different levels is the difference maker. And then that gets exposed in a game like Saturday, where Nebraska played the best defensive game they played the entire season.
Yeah.
But the 23 Nebraska team essentially beat the team on the other sideline that looks like a microcosm of the last 5 years of Nebraska football. And that's a step. That is a step in the right direction if you want to get your football program to start to pick yourself up out of that neighborhood where Purdue and Northwestern and Illinois and Nebraska all live. Is you're beating those teams in your neighborhood. I mean, to get out of your neighborhood, Nick, you lived on the the rough streets of the White Flight suburb of Millard.
Yeah, I was on the south side, buddy.
You gotta fight the people to get out of the neighborhood.
Yeah,
man.
you do. That's true.
So that's what Nebraska is doing.
It's funny you bring that up because I'll be honest, I didn't even think of like
neighborhood.
Well, that too, man. I'm trying to forget.
Crime.
Trying to forget, but I got out, Gary. Okay, yeah, that's all that matters.
Inspiring.
Yeah, I can tell that story to the ones that come before me and after me. So I never thought about Purdue as kind of an amalgam of Nebraska over the last few years, if you will. But I immediately, as soon as you brought up the sort of undisciplined brand, just think of the start of that game. Okay, you get a pretty good break with Snodgrass fumble, and then think of their inability to execute a play without getting flagged for the first two. And all of a sudden, at that point for the stadium, it sometimes takes a little while to settle in to a game. Oh, it was go time there. Because as soon as you give any indication that maybe the crowd noise or anything that had to do with the crowd was a factor, then it's go time. So right there, I can go back and think of Nebraska either coming out of a timeout or Nebraska maybe even starting the game where you feel like, okay, you've got everything sort of set. You've had a chance to discuss this. You've had a chance to sort of prep, whether we're talking about a script or we're talking about going to the sideline, burning a timeout, coming out and being able to execute, and you see a penalty or you see just undisciplined play of where somebody goes one way and the other guy goes the other way. That's fair. And just thinking of a couple of examples of Purdue. And you're right about the amount of trash talking in this game because it was oddly chippy for two teams that we wouldn't think have this long-standing history of like any type of substantial rivalry or anything. Like this wouldn't like Iowa, Nebraska, or even, I'd even throw in maybe Wisconsin in Nebraska. And so to me, I don't know if Purdue went ahead and took the tone of their head coach, where, again, we talked about this last week, where Ryan Walters, he said what he said, but it wasn't necessarily like a major diss at Nebraska. It wasn't like he was trying to stir anything up. He was just answering something honestly. But I do wonder if that tone took on sort of a different meaning at practices from Ryan Walters, where these guys were wanting to see. And there's also maybe part of this from what Ryan Walters has experienced being on the sideline at Illinois and seeing some of those previous Nebraska teams, that if maybe you do jaw a little bit or you do kind of alpha up on some of the players, then maybe they'll react. Then maybe you can get them a little wobbly like you could in the last couple of years, where they will get out of their element and they'll do something stupid. And then all of a sudden you feel like you've got a mental edge. So good on Nebraska for not doing that.
I think they're fake tough guys. They're hiding the fact they're 2-6.
See, and that's
play football.
That's
Shut
where I
up.
had the biggest problem. When
Shut your mouth.
When you've got 2 wins there.
Okay, quit
Yeah.
acting like a fake tough guy, and worry about maybe getting better because you ain't going to a bowl game. Okay,
Not after Saturday.
But whatever the act that they were pulling, because let's be honest, if you're Purdue and you're bad, okay, you're bad. No, this isn't all of a sudden. Well, now you're taking away from. No, Nebraska's found a way to beat bad teams.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Nebraska has gone through the month of
They
October.
didn't do that before.
And on the night that they played 3 particular teams, they were very bad. Now, Purdue's bad, period. But on the particular nights or afternoons in the month of October when Nebraska played those teams either the effect of Nebraska, especially defensively, or they're just not very good and they didn't come to play. Nebraska's beating those teams. And you haven't been able to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Comparable talent, Nebraska has lost games. And especially if you fumble the football 5 times and you lose 4 of them, you should lose a game.
Yes.
There's a lot of stats out there that will tell you that you should. And there's also past history around here. And nobody in the right mind. And you got to fix it. I'm telling you. You got to fix it. Because if it bites you in one of these 4 games, you're going to own it. And I'm okay with just unloading on the fact that you can't hold on to the football and it's going to cost you a football game. And in the past, it probably cost you that game because you know why? Because mentally, you weren't that strong.
Mm-hmm.
You also didn't have great situational coaching on one side of the ball where defensively, all of a sudden, you're all excited because your offensive guys are going out there to get the football to begin the game, and there's a fumble, and you're like, oh, geez. Instead, one side of the ball says, here we go.
Yeah.
And so a drive that starts at the 32 ends at the 33. That's pretty good. I don't know in the past we had that much mental fortitude that Nebraska would be able to withstand that. And that's where they've made a good stride is the mental and situational part of this football program is that they can do those things and they don't flinch and they don't ride the roller coaster. So that's the team I saw in the growth of in their neighborhood, they're beating up those teams. They're getting out of their neighborhood. They're beating up those teams.
Yeah.
And that's a step in the right direction. And now you're going to go through a stretch where you're still kind of in your neighborhood for the next couple of weeks.
Well, and that's the next big challenge for this team now. And because I would agree with everything you just said with what they had to do. And one of the benchmarks that you really had to clear off this year was being able to take care of the opponents that you need to take care of. Now, again, the Minnesota game looms large, but that's done. Okay. It was the first game of the season. That one's over with. And, ironically, that is a game where not as many turnovers as you had as far as fumbles that you had against Purdue, but the one was the difference in that one of the Anthony Grant fumble. But that one's over with. So what were you able to kind of learn in that first month and knowing that you're going to have a stretch of games where you're going to play some very common talent type teams? And so far, we know the result of that. Nebraska's 3-0. And they've done it with defense. They've had their share of mistakes offensively. But, yeah, I think it does speak to the fact that you all of a sudden as a team, maybe you get that first win. Oh, my gosh, you get the second win, yet there's still some sloppy play. There's still some mistakes. And you realize you can still win that way. Everything doesn't have to be basically unglued. And I think that helps this team mentally. So now the next challenge, okay, what they're going to hear, and Matt Rule even talked a little bit about it during the postgame, and I like his response to it, is all you're going to hear this week is one more win, one more win, one more win, one more win, and you're bowl eligible with 4 to go. So there's obviously a path there. There's obviously I saw Bill Connolly has Nebraska's 91% chance is bowl eligible in the SP Plus. So it looks good, right? But I like the attitude, and hopefully the team takes on this attitude of why just one? Why have that? So is it going to be, this is the question, is it going to be a team that has turned the corner mentally? And obviously they have a major leg to stand on defensively. So there's an identity there. Is it a team that has turned that corner to the point that none of that conversation matters? It's all about the whole 1-0. They will look exactly the same as they looked last week against Michigan State? Or does, as you get so close to it, some of those mistakes amplify a little bit and they actually start hurting you a little bit? And then that starts, you're so close that you just haven't maybe cleared that little mental hurdle of knowing that you should be able to do this now. Anything less than 6 wins now would be a major disappointment. Are they there yet? Because I think there's a lot of reason to believe that they are, but we got to see it. And that's what this Saturday is about. all about if they can check that one box off with this much. I mean, I've never thought I would feel this team would have so much pressure to get to 6 wins. But at the beginning of the season, didn't think that
been
would
there
exist.
since 2016.
Exactly.
I mean, that everybody knows that number.
And so now there is that much pressure on getting to that 6th win with 4 to go. How does the team respond? I'd like to think that they're insulated enough from that they will play
I think
very similar to what you saw last week.
I think these guys, I think the one thing that they have done, and coaching matters so that you can make it in November to possibly remember, is they've done a really good job of not riding the roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep using this phrase, they know who they are. There's no grand illusion that Nebraska is in the category of Ohio State or Michigan or Penn State. There's not even a hint of that.
Mm-hmm.
So they are exactly where their feet are. So they're not trying to be somebody they're not. So they don't ride the roller coaster. And I think that's when you have adults on the sidelines, is they don't let that play into how you approach Saturday, because they are the same exact thing on Monday that they are on Saturday. And that's not easy to do, especially when you had a head coach who rode the friggin' roller coaster of being the football coach at Nebraska.
Yeah.
And Rule hasn't done that, and I think his team reflects it. Now, there are questions, as you kind of alluded to, of things that could pop up. A porous offense. There's the turnover thing. And there's still in the back of my head, I mean, what happens when that one game, when that defense breaks down and, oh my gosh, they give up more than 3 touchdowns? Are you good enough to generate 4 touchdowns in a game? Those are, and if you're able to get through the next 4 games and you don't have to worry about that, good on you, because you're going somewhere warm to continue the season in the month of December.
Yep.
It's just, it's a strange, Nebraska's in a strange place, but it's not a negative. It's a good thing. And I wonder if people are, because I've asked a lot of my friends this, are you enjoying this season? Is this season enjoyable? There's one side of the ball we're over the top on, okay? They are well coached. They are well prepared. It looks fun to be on that side.
Yes.
The other side of the ball is really, really herky, jerky. And I mean, are you thinking, what did I feel like in 2009? But I asked the question, is this year enjoyable? When things are unexpected, it seems like you enjoy it more. When a team that is maybe projected 5th or 6th in their conference, all of a sudden they're competing for the top spot, you go, ooh, I knew they were good, but man, not this good. This is a great season. This is an unbelievable season. Is this season right now, with 4 games to go and a month that will matter, enjoyable? Are you enjoying the ride? Or are you like, waiting for that foot to drop? See, it's a weird balance. Like,
it is.
You're pausing over there. You're giving me this look. Other people are like, whoa, yeah. You know what? I'd say just hop on for the ride, man. This is something we haven't had here in a while, and it's a fascinating science experiment that's going on in Lincoln, how mentally they are bringing this team day by day to get to the point where it's October 30th, and I've already gone through the path for 4 teams to get to Indianapolis, and Nebraska is one of them.
Well, if anybody argues with you, just tell them, would you rather go back to last year? Did you have fun with that? I mean, yeah, sit back and enjoy it.
You know, it's what this
People forget
season.
Nebraska beat Iowa at the end of the year.
Yes, they did.
They won a trophy.
They did it, and they held them off.
Which now sits at the receptionist desk.
Yeah. It's just there. It's part of it's where the players gather. It's where they gather and they get some food, and it's in the lounge. This to me, in a way, because what Nebraska and what Matt Rule even alluded to before the game, and it obviously got worse with the amount of fumbles, is where Nebraska is, because they would be -10 now for the season. That they are, at the time when he said when they were -8, they were 4 wins, 4-3. Now you're at 5-3 at -10. Like, it is absurd. That part of this season is unfathomable. But it almost reminds me of in 2021, where Nebraska would be in so many games, and whatever would happen. Something new, where it would just, whether you felt like Nebraska was snakebit, whether that was a little bit more human error on the sideline, probably a little bit of both, where you felt like at the very least Nebraska wasn't getting good luck in certain situations too. And here you are, where you could call it really bad luck when you cough the ball up. You could also call it just an epidemic with this team. But the fact that they have such a good unit on defense that it has not bit them in the ass yet at least to the point that it's going to, keep them from bowl eligibility. Like maybe that's what 2023 is. It's a redemption from 2021 where you couldn't explain some of the ways Nebraska was losing games in 2021. Just like it's tough to explain when you are that bad of taking care of the football, yet here you are at 5-3 with 4 games to go. Like that to me is almost as unexplainable as what 2021 was.
Maybe easier though in 23 because I can just point to one side of the ball. I say those guys are legit.
Yep.
Those guys on that ball, side of the ball are legit. This is the first time in a while that Nebraska has taken advantage of the opportunities that are in front of them. The division isn't very good.
Yep.
All right. The schedule has actually played into Nebraska's favor, and they've taken advantage of it. Again, Nebraska football looks like what Purdue looked like previously. Mental errors. They're given opportunities, and they can't take advantage of them, and they lose a game, and you go, how'd we lose that game? Nebraska's different in 23. They are beating teams with comparable talent, and you haven't been able to say that. Again, everything has set up for them. How the schedule
really
has played out, how teams probably are not on the level that you thought going into the season, that when you play them on that particular Friday night or Saturday, that's who they are. They've taken advantage of those opportunities. And no one, and you don't make excuses. You play and then you move on and you go into the month of November and you have a chance to, one, go to a bowl game and do not overlook the significance of that. And nobody is. But I'm just telling you, that's a huge point for this program in the first year after starting 0-2 to get to 6, to continue your season in December with young guys on both sides of the ball that'll get extra reps and will get an extra game to play. Do not poo-poo at all the significance of what a bowl game could mean in the moment and down the road. And the fact that Nebraska could still win the Big Ten West if they take care of business, take care of the opportunities in front of them, and get a little help. Well, I mean, it's wild to think about how this has all unfolded after we left the month of September. A month ago was because the Nebraska-Michigan game was a month ago, right? The 30th of September. Yeah. Look how you felt then. Now look how you feel now. Crazy, isn't it?
Think about how people felt in the college football world, period, then, about a certain team that was on primetime Saturday night. And their chances of making a bowl game compared to Nebraska's chances of making a bowl game now. And what you would have thought that would be when Nebraska left Boulder, Colorado, and where Colorado was, even after they were able to come back and beat Colorado State, where you're like, man, this is just a team of destiny. Holy cow. Now they're at a 20% chance of making a bowl game, to where Nebraska's at a 91% chance of making a bowl game. And I get it. Hey, not all schedules are created equal, but what are you doing from that first month to now? Are you getting better? Are you finding a formula? Are you finding an identity that wins? And that's the truth of the matter is that's what Nebraska's doing. There's no such thing as an ugly win for Nebraska right now. There's no such thing. If they've got 1 point, if there was some way you could actually make it, you could score half a point. As long as you are 1 point better than any team you play on the remaining schedule, I don't care how it looks. There's no such thing as an ugly win right now for Nebraska, because this is something that you already know Nebraska is going to play. They're going to drag you in the mud. It's going to be that way. And you know what? I'll describe it. I'll continue to describe it this way. It's a beautiful disaster. It's all it is.
The lineup brought to you by the referees at John Higgins Weather Guard. Jacob Bigelow will join us a little bit later. Nebraska basketball played yesterday. Everybody will wait for the update on Mr. Tominaga.
Scary.
Just came back out, I guess.
They about shut down Pinnacle Bank Arena yesterday. They about said, kick everybody out. Everybody go home. Yeah. Shut your blinds when you go home. Turn up the heat. Sit on your couch, grab the blanket,
and we'll update you.
And come back in the spring. But we'll probably get an update on Tominaga today. Wasn't on crutches. Ankle swolled up, like I am swole. The still picture. Your ankle isn't supposed to do that.
No,
they may have caught a break. But we'll get an update today. But Jacob will join us because Nebraska did play Doane in exhibition yesterday. And it was, I don't know, to me, it was a buffer between now and game 1 of the season. But I'm sure Jacob will have a hot take or two. Amy Just will join us as well. It's the Monday lineup brought to you by the referees at John Higgins Weather Guard. Lots to discuss about what happened Saturday in Lincoln around college football and what is ahead. November means something. November means something. Last year, November meant, just get it over with, because then Nebraska will have a new head coach. This year, the play on the field means something. That's not a bad step in the right direction.
Good for business.
If I do say so myself.
It is very good.
Better for our business. It's a lot more enjoyable that a game in East Lansing matters in November.
Yeah. And matters for more than just like, we're going to try to, Michigan State's on a roll. Let's see if we can be the turd in the punch bowl here.
They need to just make sure their trivia is wholesome before the game.
Well, I did get to see the run through of Husker Vision. I had really boned up on my Fidel Castro. I was very disappointed that there were no dictator questions that were asked pre-game at Memorial Stadium on Saturday.
You would think there'd be more in the hopper, but apparently people frown upon that type of stuff. So Michigan State ruined it for everyone.
It was cold. People frowned on going to the game.
Yeah,
especially if you're a student at the University of Nebraska. But it was cold, I guess.
At least it was dry.
Just to give that caveat, It was cold. It was cold.
Well, Wisconsin was colder though, right? I wasn't at the game. The Wisconsin game a year ago.
Wisconsin game a year ago was cold.
Yeah. That looked just
it's 21
miserable. Yeah. So Saturday was cold, but Matt Rule even said it wasn't nearly as bad as he wanted it to be. He wanted it to be really bad.
Saturday's game will be, the World Herald gets the info about ticket scan. That had the look of about 55 to 60,000 ticket scan game.
Yeah, just even from the TV shots, you could tell like the upper area, especially. But you mentioned the student section, there were some seats that were
At least
open.
you guys didn't have lightning delays and sleet pelting on you.
Yeah, that was
odd.
It was very odd.
That was odd.
I thought maybe I had something wrong to drink when I thought I saw lightning.
All right, 42 past the hour. Off and running on a Monday. It's a Victory Monday, and there was no football on Sunday. There was not. There was no football on Sunday. Football did not exist on Sunday. The NFL said, "Why would we want to play on Sunday? We'll just take Sunday off."
Yep.
There were no.
I'm good with that.
There were no losers. There might have been some winners, but there were no losers. Absolutely none. So we'll just shake it off and move on, and hope to find better karma in Germany.
Yeah. I can celebrate. Yeah.
No bad blood.
I can celebrate now that the Tyson Bagent story will definitely be cooled down a lot, because boy, did they really try to force that down our throat this last week.
It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley at 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. 1620 The Zone's four-quarter pick'em returns. It's your chance to win $1,620. All you have to do is correctly pick 4 college or NFL games against the spread. Listen to qualify every weekday or enter online at 1620thezone.com. One lucky listener will be selected each week to make their picks live on air.
Awesome.
Go to 1620thezone.com for complete rules and contest details. It's four-quarter pick'em with 1620 The Zone.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is always looking to make your game day bigger and better. Cheer on your favorite team this season in front of a 22-foot LED video wall showing up to 8 games at once. TVs are everywhere else you can look with a state-of-the-art audio and video system. Enjoy a big old pizza or award-winning char-buffed wings. There's just no better way to do your game day. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road. And for takeout at 162nd and Maple.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's half-off deal is Kops. Receive 2 $25 gift vouchers for just $25. Kops makes delicious pizza, fresh salads, and tasty charred wings. For the basic menu, click CopsPizza.com. And for the extended menu, visit them at Shadow Lake Town Center, 180th and Center, and the newly reopened 72nd and Jones locations.
Zone deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com.
Do you hear what we hear? Omaha Steaks has tons of jobs and hours. Right now, we're hiring for a variety of seasonal positions in our warehouses. Make this holiday extra jolly with a great employee discount on gourmet foods you can use all year long. To view available job openings and to apply online, go to omahasteaks.com/jobs or text steaks to 22633 to apply today. 'Tis the season to make some holiday cash at Omaha Steaks.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Jimmy, did you partake in throwing the goalposts in Lawrence into Potter Lake?
No, but I did watch it. You know, I got to do that about 20 years ago, and that was fun. But we definitely were on the field, but mostly because it makes it easier to get out.
So they did that in 05, right? When they beat Nebraska?
Hold on. That's true. So the TCU game I was at last year, yeah, we walked on the field to get out of the stadium
Much
because
quicker.
it was a lot easier. Which is
And you're like, hey, this is nice.
It's actually kind of the same way in Lincoln
Because you can get out of the end zone there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we did that last year, Wisconsin game. Not on the field, but I know what you mean.
So
Yeah.
I wasn't in Lawrence when it happened in 05 when they broke that streak with Nebraska, but then me and a few buddies went there in 07, and that was
They didn't tear the
they
goalpost
didn't
down.
because they're like, at that point, it's like, we're better than them. which was
Oklahoma
weird.
is a goalpost worthy game.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, especially the long history of OU beatdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Tell Nick Saban hello. Enjoy that SEC.
Hey, coaching matters, and the right coaching hire.
They
What it
can't
can do
beat
for your
KU or
program?
K-State.
I mean, KU is 2-2 in their last 4 against ranked opponents, and they're doing it with a backup quarterback. I think he's not essentially a backup quarterback because he's played enough football now that I would consider him a co-starter.
Yeah, so happy for him too. After you talk about the roller coaster of emotions, and it was up and down, and all the social media, their social media people are top notch. And the video that they shared was of Mike Nowitzki and one of the receivers between him, and they're watching that last play. Yes, Dirk. Well, that's his nickname.
What was Dirk doing in Lawrence?
His
He
that's
likes
his
basketball.
nickname
Damn,
is
Bill
Dirk.
Self is really cheating.
He is.
Come
He found some eligibility left with Dirk.
I tried to get Wimby.
Uh,
But yeah, so the pass falls incomplete, and he just is sobbing into a towel because you just think of everything he's been through in his career, but even at Kansas and even last year in the bowl game, and being talked into coming back and having a chance. Hey, fans can say what they want about Jason Bean. He got them to a bowl game back-to-back years. He won the game last year against Oklahoma State, and they can't ever take this away from him. He beat Oklahoma, and it was a legit win. It was not, the only fluky thing that happened was the weather delay.
and that
which
actually helped
worked
Oklahoma.
against them.
Yeah, it did. No, I was texting with a friend of mine who is a jerk because he said something about, I wonder if the rain delay will swing the momentum just like it did in 2016 in the World Series. I'm like, shut up, man, shut up. But I mean,
That was actually my biggest fear, though.
Oklahoma
because
went 21
Last time
unanswered.
Nebraska won 3 in a row in football.
2016. That's right. Good things in 2016, other than Game
Cubs won
7.
the World Series.
Yeah, everything was good up until Game 7. Actually, Game 6. But yes, you saw Oklahoma when they go 21 unanswered at that point, overcome that 14-point deficit.
Again?
Yeah, and you're just like, oh, okay, that was cute. And gosh,
It shows if you're a program that needs a builder and you have a good read on what your program needs, if you hit the right hire for the moment, what it can do for you. That's what they did at KU with Leipold.
Yeah. He's their Bill Snyder. You said it the other day.
He was the perfect mindset and resume for what KU football needed. They didn't need flash. They need
Les Miles.
They needed a coach.
Well,
finally,
what what did Nebraska need? Ironically, the final two candidates were Matt Rule and Lance Leipold, with Trev Alberts, the only two that he met with. They needed a coach. They needed a football coach. And it's crazy in that sport, what a football coach can actually do for a program that needs not a name, but an actual person that wears a whistle around their neck and goes from position group to getting down and coaching and knows how to assemble a staff. It's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild how that happens.
I put it to you this way. Bean throws that interception about 2:30 left. Most people, and even in the back of my mind, it's like, crap, although I used another word, it's over. But then I look at Lance turn right around, makes a beeline for the defense, and he is just not laying into him, but you could tell he's giving them something. And I was like, he's pointing and talking to them. After the game, you realize he's probably telling them, we're going to get a stop here. You guys will get a stop. And then he's talking to the offense. They get the ball back. He had this way of instilling this belief that it was not over. And they did get the stop because Oklahoma's one first down away from it being over. They get the ball back. And I never doubted that they were going to score, even on that fourth down play, which was a money throw by Bean.
Big 12 is crazy. I mean, Iowa State.
Yeah.
There must be a big name job that's about to open because Matt Campbell is on a heater. Iowa State's tied for first. Now their schedule is really difficult in the month of November, but Iowa State has found a way to get tied for first. I mean, it's a good weekend for the Big 12. You got Bedlam, then you have K-State and Texas. But here's one thing. Here's my only negative about what happened in Lawrence. And this is around college football. Every hospital that is in an area where there might be an upset and there's going to be a field storming, go ahead and reserve a hospital room because there's going to be a football player put a student in the hospital. And they're going to have every right to do that. This bull crap of kids that are running on a field and you're getting in the face of it, Caleb Williams or the wide receiver from Oklahoma.
You've seen it firsthand.
Hey, I saw it in Columbia when in 2003 when Missouri beats Nebraska, and it's your head is on a swivel because there are people coming out of nowhere. And you saw Kellen Houston. Remember that incident? Okay. If that happens today, I'm like, he has every right in the world, because if you're going to be an idiot and you're going to film it and you're going to get in someone's face in that moment, and most players just keep walking, but it's gotten aggressive where you are right in their face. They have every right in the world to shove you down or, you know what, slug you upside the head because you deserve that.
I agree.
I don't know where this trend is taken off, but it's got to stop because there's going to be an opposing football player is going to put a student in the hospital sooner than later. And there's going to be this outrage.
Oh, yeah. Assault.
And you know what? They deserve it.
Yeah. I'll defend the player.
I don't know how many kids are even thinking about this when they storm the field or storm the court, but you assume the risk. You have to know that. And especially if you decide to be a chucklehead and actually get in front of the team that lost, you get in their face and you antagonize it more. I mean, there's a reason that cool down periods exist in all of sports, especially in football, where you have the amount of adrenaline that is running through you. You are at the height of absolutely being pissed off and disappointed in what you and your team could not accomplish that day. And now you got some dude that couldn't even carry your jockstrap is looking at you and is taunting you and is trying to do stuff to get you even more out of your cool.
What Warren Sapp say? Put a jersey on.
Yeah, right. I mean, you're now on you're on their turf, literally as well.
I mean, good on the players that have, like, I don't know how many. I don't know if you guys watched the Caleb Williams stuff after Notre Dame. Man, Caleb Williams, that couldn't have been easy because the people that got in his face, he kept it moving. He knows, hey,
you got a lot to lose.
I'm Caleb Williams.
Yep.
I just got to get to the locker room. There's nobody around me that's helping me get there. I just got to keep walking and not stop. Well, what happens to the fourth string wide receiver who had no role in the game other than he plays for Oklahoma and he's walking off the field and there's some inebriated student that's in his face, F you, F this, and then touches the player, and all hell breaks loose.
Yep.
I mean, what happens if someone does that on the street?
It's coming. I don't know where this trend started this year, and maybe it's because Everybody wants to film everything.
Right.
But, man, we're going to have an ugly incident before the year is over. Guaranteed.
And this is not something that I envy for the coaches, but again, when you're managing so many different things in your football program, that when you go to a road venue, I don't know how you communicate that other than you have a certain standard with your players. But in the heat of the moment, to try to address all of your players, like as that might be happening as the clock is winding down, to be able to say, hey, don't do anything stupid. Don't do anything stupid. The people are going to be rushing the field. Just get the hell out of here. It's impossible to get to every one of your players before that moment actually happens and tell them and reiterate that to them. It's just, this is one of those things that I will always side with a student athlete, because again, if you decide to storm, okay, you want to be a part of that. Again, you're assuming the risk of what could happen.
We'll leave the other team alone.
Yeah,
Don't
absolutely.
Pay any attention to them. Let them go to the locker room, go high five your friends, high five your players.
Like, I mean,
celebrate.
if you are, if a guy is trying to leave and he's going to the locker room area where the rest of his team is going,
give him a space.
And you happen to just kind of cross by him, you don't say anything, and that guy decides to shove you or get tough with you. Okay, that's issue. But most of the times it's because you've got inebriated fans that feel entitled that now this is the extension of the stands. Now that game's over, this is part of the stadium that they have every right to be at, which couldn't be any further from the truth. And so they're going to act as such. And it's like, you need to get the hell out of my seat, my stadium. And you've got all kinds of issues right there.
Don't even say good game or even if you're trying to be positive, leave them alone.
Yeah.
They just got done at such
Go
a high
join the
level
rest of your
intensity.
friends over at the 50-yard line. Go meet over by the goalpost, whatever you want to do. But yeah, stay the hell away, because I will never, ever side with a student there or any fan that never. You know what you're doing. You know what you're getting yourself into. And if you decide it's worth it, okay, then better keep your mouth shut around the players that lost.
We're going to update with Jimmy. Plus, we're going to do the roadmap. We're going to do the roadmap on what it will take for Nebraska to win the Big Ten West. We have to.
Yep.
I
love it.
It's reality. If you're ready to dream, I'm a dream giver. We'll do that coming up in the next hour of Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain, time-saving traffic center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a bit of a delay from 108th all the way to 83rd along L Street. Then on Dodge, there's going to be a bit of slowdown from 94th to 90th, and you'll be experiencing a bit more traffic from 175th to 171st on Center. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Nanfito Heating and Cooling.
Firing up your furnace? Nanfito Heating and Cooling, a Rude Pro partner, will get your furnace in working order so you aren't left in the cold with residential installation, repair, and maintenance on all brands. Call Nanfito Heating and Cooling 402-515-5050.
Hi, this is Kathy Kenoyer. 'Tis the season at Glass House Market within Kenoyer Garden Center. We'd like to invite you to come shop our stunning holiday market, where you'll find a perfect gift for that special someone or the Christmas decor you've been wanting. Join our family for this year's open house, November 4th and 5th, to help us celebrate the holiday season. Glass House Market, located within Kenoyer Garden Center on 66th Street between Cornhusker and Highway 370 in Papillion. Open daily 10 to 6.
At Kenoyer Garden Center, everybody's got a green thumb.
You know, if we know anything, it's that local matters. Local shops, local restaurants, even locally brewed beers. October is Drink Local Month. So the Nebraska Craft Brewers Guild is challenging beer, seltzer, and cider drinkers like you to put your palate through its paces and drink local brews. Because seriously, Nebraska is really on the cutting edge when it comes to brewers who think outside the box. And besides, you really want to be drinking what they drink over in Iowa? Didn't think so. Click Nebraska.beer to find brews near you.
Email us on the Equitable inbox with whatever is on your mind. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can hit me up, agree, disagree, tell me your thoughts on life at Handley at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
Doing good feels good. At shareomaha.org, find hundreds of ways to give your volunteer time from Blair to Springfield, Wahoo to the riverfront. Get connected to nonprofits that matter to you. Find your fit now at shareomaha.org.
We're nearing the midpoint of the NFL season. John and Josh here for the FanDuel Sportsbook. Money line. That's how you just bet straight up. Win, lose, no point spreads. And right now, FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is giving new customers $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That means you can take a pretty big favorite, get an easy win, and pick up $150 in easy bonus bets by betting moneyline on FanDuel.com.
Go to FanDuel.com/1620, John, and take advantage of this great offer and a whole lot more. Again, new customers, $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. Just go to FanDuel.com/1620. 21 plus and present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. $5 pregame moneyline wager required. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOT and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620, The Zone.
7:02. Freshman Eli Rice had 18 points to lead 5 Huskers in double figures as Nebraska ball takes control in the second half. An 84-53 win over Doane last night at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Rice hit 7 of 14 from the floor, including 3 3-pointers, as a shorthanded Husker team pulled away after halftime. Nebraska, which was down to just 5 scholarship players available after a first-half injury to Keisei Tominaga, shot 57% from the floor and outscored Doane by 20 after halftime. They open the season 1 week from tonight against Lindenwood at PBA. Earlier in the afternoon, the Nebraska women overpowered Dakota Wesleyan 83-47. Freshman Natalie Potts led the U-Betchas with 15 points while adding 8 rebounds in 21 minutes off the bench. She had 7 of 12 from the floor, and 2 steals and an assist. They open their season next Monday at noon against Northwestern State. Screaming Kids game. Nebraska volleyball sweeps Maryland and Rutgers Friday and Saturday, respectively. They're now 21-0. They'll maintain their #1 ranking when that's released later. Creighton women's basketball hosts UNK at Soko Arena tonight at 7. Creighton volleyball gets its 7th straight sweep at Georgetown Saturday. They're now 19-4 overall, 10-2 in the Big East. Omaha volleyball falls on 4 to North Dakota State Saturday afternoon at Baxter Arena. For the second straight season, Omaha women's soccer will be played in the Summit League Championship title match after knocking off #1 Denver last night. Mavericks and Pioneers played to a 2-2 draw in regulation, with Omaha getting the win in penalty kicks, 3-2. It's the third title match appearance in 4 seasons for the Mavericks, who won last year's Summit League title over Oral Roberts in Omaha. Will be the 4th championship game for the Mavs under head coach Tim Walters. They now head to the Summit League Championship title match against #2 South Dakota State. The league has not announced an official date for the match, but it will be played in Brookings. Omaha hockey ties Ohio State Friday, 2-2 loses Saturday, 4-0. World Series Game 3 tonight at historic Chase Field in the baseball hotbed of Phoenix. Series tied 1-1. If you're not watching, you're missing some good stuff, especially Friday. Kirk Cousins, the fear is a torn Achilles. It's very sad for everyone who watched him on quarterback. And Tyreek Hill is halfway to his 2,000 yards as he goes over 1,000. They have the big game coming up next week against the Chiefs in front of the Germans.
Again, one of the best games of the regular season is in Germany. They're going to start at 8:30 in the morning.
It's a Sunday night Arrowhead game. It would have been amazing.
Maybe even be in Miami.
Yeah.
But why is
just like in 2018 when it was supposed to be in Mexico? Didn't happen because of the turf, but the Rams and the Chiefs. And that one ended up not happening. You get some marquee matchups there that are out of the States here.
No, usually have bad matchups.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the two that involve the Chiefs.
A rare, really good game all the way in Germany.
Well, usually they involve Jacksonville.
They're England.
Now that Jacksonville's being
Jacksonville
actually
might
playing
turn
good,
turn into a good game.
But before it was usually a Jacksonville and then fill in the blank of whoever they wanted to play. But yeah, there's at least two examples, even though it didn't happen in Mexico in 2018 with Kansas City and LA, and then now this one in Hamburg, Frankfurt, sorry, Hamburg, Frankfurt, Germany. It's going to be good. Is that why? Well, never mind. I forgot. We're not talking about yesterday.
No, we can talk about next week because Dallas, Philadelphia play as well.
Yes. You guys don't want to talk about
And
Chicago?
then Buffalo and Cincinnati play.
Chicago at New Orleans doesn't do anything.
We don't talk about 2 and 6 teams.
Okay.
Remember, we're not talking much about Purdue today. All right, thanks, Jimmy. I just saw the weather forecast for Friday night. Ooh, much different. Much different than this past Friday for high school football playoffs. It's going to be 64 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, hello. I like that.
They get rebounds in the 50s like after Tuesday too. So
oh yeah,
we're getting a little bit more like it.
Yeah, no wimpy. But just, make sure you got your kid dressed like it's, the middle of January when you're out trick-or-treating tomorrow night. Other than that, you'll be good.
Get a lot of Stay Puft Marshmallow Man costumes. Would be good.
But I'm glad that it does not appear weather will be a factor when Bell West and Westside meet for 2.0 this year. After Bell West beat Papillion La Vista and Westside rolled over Creighton Prep.
And then Omaha North with the 2-point conversion. A little riverboat gambling there too. So yeah, there was some. So watched a little bit of the highlights when I got back from hockey on Friday, even though there was no major upsets, but definitely some good drama, some good games there too. So looking forward to seeing the quarterfinals. Unfortunately, I got hockey again.
Yes, the 2-point conversion was big, but you're burying the play right before it.
I don't know if I saw that play. What happened? I didn't see the play then before it.
The Donovan Jones catch?
Oh, yes, the catch. Yes, the catch itself
the
on the corner, the near side corner. Yes. Okay. Yeah, it was pretty damn impressive.
It was a wild game. That's the third straight year that Gretna's season has ended on the final play. And now it becomes the transition where they will probably go down to B. And they just wrapped up an amazing 3-year run of Gretna football. I mean, really good players, good. We've done a lot of Gretna games, so I've gotten to know, a lot of their staff. Mike's got a great staff. Joe Dalton, their defensive coordinator. I mean, they've got a good thing going at Gretna, but they've just had this 3-year run of this senior class has had a lot of really good football. You had the best quarterback in the history of Nebraska high school football, went through a 4-year career. But how about 3 straight years your season has ended on the final play?
Yeah, that's harsh.
And the game went to double overtime. I do think that high school football needs to look at their overtime. Putting the ball on the 10-yard line, we could have been there forever. But Gretna and, Alex Wilcoxon is a baller, great multi-sport athlete at Gretna, and they score. And they take the lead in double overtime. And then North has the play from Sebastian Serco to Donovan Jones. And then Larry Martin says, let's go for 2.
Yep.
And they go for 2 and they win. And now they get a matchup with Millard South. There's another there's one team in Class A, and they've won championships before, and they have a storied program. But isn't Lincoln Southeast a program you look at and go, man, shouldn't they always be better?
Yeah, they were always the kind of out of the Lincoln schools. Now, obviously, not as many existed when I was in high school that now exist, but they were always the gold standard in every sport. It didn't matter what we're talking: football, basketball, baseball. They always had the dudes, always, and especially football program. I mean, going back to the days of the Rudes playing there too. I mean, yeah, it's that they've had a very good football tradition there. So I would always expect, with Lincoln Southeast is down, that to me doesn't always seem right. And again, this is more old school thinking of when I played. Lincoln Southeast was always good, but even early 2000s when I covered Lincoln Southeast and your various state playoff games or what have you, they were always. I mean, they were always the Lincoln school up until 2006 and 2007. And then you kind of started seeing things shift a little bit. But yeah, Southeast was always kind of the gold standard.
What I said is they seem like they always underperform. I don't take anything from Lincoln East. I mean, Jeter Worthley is a really good player, and John Gingery's got a fantastic program. Just always seems like Lincoln Southeast should be better, but they got knocked out in a rivalry game. So the weather looks good for Friday night, and that's a good thing. I hope
all weekend too,
as the season has come to an end for 2 guys, when they come out with the All Metro and All State, if you're not voting Zach McClay at Prep or Blake Hawkins at Gretna on your first ballot, I don't know what I can do for you because you haven't watched football. And it's too bad that those guys, they're career has come to an end. And Zach's been a key contributor for Prep for a while. Blake kind of used the senior season and really, really blew up because he got more of an opportunity to play. Those are two really, really good football players. So not many upsets. Bishop Newman got beat. And they get upset?
Yeah,
they got upset.
Yep.
But not many upsets. Should be a good quarterfinals, though, and good weather. And speaking of Nebraska high school football players, you guys see what Xavier Watts did again this weekend?
Yeah. No, I didn't get a chance to watch any of that game, but having a hell of a year. Know that.
He had a couple of interceptions.
Again, jeez. Yeah,
and then Pat Narduzzi went off on his team.
That's it. I'm going to East Lansing.
So Narduzzi crushed his roster. I mean, they're bad. Are they 2-6 now? I think Pitt's 2-6. I think I beat by Notre Dame 58-7. Deion Sanders did the same thing. Will the reaction be different towards one coach compared to the other? Because Deion Sanders threw his offensive line under the bus and then said, "Hold on, let me see if this Greyhound has reverse." It does. Oh, let me see if it has drive. I mean, completely crushed his offensive line. Him and Narduzzi basically said the same thing about certain aspects of the roster.
Yeah, Narduzzi talked about not being able to replace what they used to have. And then we had a couple guys respond, go, "Huh? What?" And then that elicited another response from Pat Narduzzi on social media. And then all of a sudden now you've got...
Well, he walked it back, right?
Oh, yeah. He kind of walked it back, but he said he's...
So Deion won't walk it back.
No. It'll be looked at, in my opinion, it'll be looked at from Deion's... his building of the team. Oh, no, he's just trying to set the culture there. He's trying to hold his guys accountable.
Send a message.
Yeah, this is just part of the work of Prime. Pat Narduzzi has a little bit of a reputation of being kind of a grumpy guy, not necessarily towards his own team, but kind of being a grumpy guy, kind of an old school, old head type dude that is going to call out things when he sees it. And when you don't have any of the flash or the cachet, I would say when you don't have the wins, but it's not like, Deion has that many more wins than what Pat Narduzzi has right now. But it without question will be looked at differently because Narduzzi does have a little bit of that reputation of being kind of the get off my lawn guy. But I just thought it was at the end of...
Like, who does it benefit saying that?
Of what Narduzzi said?
Like, we get all fired up. Oh, my gosh, yeah, they're throwing their team under the bus. That's kind of cool. But, like, who benefits from what Deion Sanders said or Pat Narduzzi said Saturday night? They essentially said the same thing.
Yeah,
like,
really nobody.
Like, who benefits?
Really nobody.
Like, some things are left best unsaid.
Yeah. And this is where if you feel like you have a good feel of your team, you have a good pulse of your team, that you can issue, if you want to call it a challenge. Because remember, Brett Bielema did something very similar 2 years ago before that Penn State game, where he's like, yeah, if we got guys that are ready to hit the transfer portal, they might as well just go now. And they come out, they responded well, and they beat Penn State that following weekend. If you feel like you've got a unique way of challenging through public comments or even social media posts, hey, good on you. Got the feeling on the two players that had the response for Pat Narduzzi and Pitt, got the feeling that wasn't a result of Pat Narduzzi really knowing his locker room, but just maybe speaking out of frustration. But the part where he says he's still committed to coaching this team till the end of the year made me think, oh, was that ever in question?
Oh.
Were you just going to...
Does Pitt need Mark Whipple back? Poll question. His name came up in the press box on Saturday.
Oh.
We were speculating. Do you think Mark Whipple watches Nebraska football? Only if it's on the 2:30 window on his TV at home.
Yeah.
They live in Arizona, so yeah.
So, no, like we were all wondering, like certain coaches that are no longer here.
Right.
That haven't been rehired. Like people wonder, like, do you think Frost watches Nebraska football? I think Frost is more likely to watch Nebraska play than any of the other coaches.
Yeah, I think that's just still. I don't know if there are times that he's watching it out of like, kind of like, I don't want to say envy, but just kind of the see what they did there. Yeah, that we wouldn't have called that. Like anytime Nebraska's offense like sputters, like I don't know what they're doing there. We wouldn't have called that. Yeah, because sometimes you just naturally you're gonna pick apart the job that's being done for the guy that came after you.
I certainly, if I was him, I wouldn't watch Nebraska football. I wouldn't watch a down of Nebraska football because every time you flip on the television, it's an indictment of you. When you see certain guys out there, like a Jamari Butler, excuse me.
Yeah.
Kid was in the portal.
Right.
He's making plays.
Yep. That's true.
John Bullock.
Guy never got on the field.
Certain guys not riding the mental roller coaster. I would never watch. It's the more Nebraska improves during the course of the season, the less chance of you getting a good job is what is essentially, because they keep exposing what was here by just an adult coaching a football team.
But and that's, I don't disagree with that. But when you're that person, you find ways to justify it. You find ways to make excuses for it.
Oh yeah, he did that while he was here for 5 years.
Yeah.
That's why he's no longer here.
So
okay, you got to face the reality.
Right.
Okay. Nebraska hired an adult who hired a staff that is built on development, that they've got a culture and they've got a mental strong fortitude, and they're able to be 5-3. I mean, do you think that Nebraska, with Scott as the head coach, would be with the challenges this year, same coaches, would they be 5-3?
No.
Okay.
It'd probably be reversed.
I don't want to play the game of comparing.
No,
but
it'd probably be reversed. It'd probably be more of a 3-5 team.
It just shows you when you hire an adult who's got a plan and has been through the ups and downs and knows how to build a program and build kids up and hold them accountable and hold people on your staff accountable. But things happen and you take advantage of your opportunities. That's essentially what is happening right now. Is Nebraska has some things that have been put in place on their schedule, whatever, that they've taken advantage of. There's no rhyme or reason how Nebraska should be 5-3 with handing the football over, all of these injuries, an inept offense, but they've taken advantage of a schedule that is very conducive to just playing a certain way, and you're 5-3, and you got 4 games to go, and you're about to become bowl eligible for the first time since 2016.
Yeah,
I'm not watching. I mean, unless you are into that I'm going to say mutilation, but whatever that is. Watching that? Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't watch it.
I would be really interested to see if that is an area where Scott Frost feels like, just because of, the history that he's had with the University of Nebraska as a player and a coach. I would be very interested to know if he does watch games, which I'm sure he probably does, how he does view them. Does he feel like he got a raw deal? Does he feel like there are different things about?
How could he feel like he got a raw deal?
How
could he feel that way?
He shouldn't. It's the thing. He shouldn't. But again, people
I know he will.
People like that will justify it.
Yeah, there's no way that he could say, "Oh, I got a raw deal."
So sometimes your motivation to watch is when you think, "Hey, they got a chance to look kind of bad. I want to see this. I want to see like what I could do better." Or you just so you can try to explain away what you did wrong at the previous stop and try to make peace with that. It's this really fascinating thing that I would be very curious to know how Scott Frost would view a football game. Is he very critical of what's going on, or can he just sit back and does he take it in? Almost like you said, like someone who is going to just sit there and do that to themselves. Like I don't know. I assume that he does watch. Is he with a experience? Or are they just overly supportive? Like, yeah, man, Scott, geez, all they needed to do is give you one more year, man. Just give you one more year, and this would have been you. Because I kind of get the picture
that's why I say we're in a strange place, because stuff is happening this year that hasn't happened in a while. Like just development, like coaching.
Whoa,
teaching.
Just
whoa, development,
leadership.
It's true.
What is happening and why it's a strange place and we react this way is Nebraska hired a professional football coach.
Makes a difference.
With the staff, too.
Somebody who is a professional football coach that knows how to do things on and off the field. That's essentially what it comes down to. And with that, they have a path to win the Big Ten. Are you guys ready? You ready to go here?
Let's go.
I am.
Okay. So, Where would you what give me a team in the West? There's only 4 available. Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Nebraska.
Let's go Minnesota first.
All right. So Minnesota actually has the best path to win the West. So Minnesota beat Michigan State on Saturday, 27-12.
Yep. Up that boat.
They're 5-3. They're 3-2 in the league. All they have to do is win out. They play Illinois this weekend. We're big fans of Brett. Then they go to Purdue. Then here's where it gets tricky. They go to Ohio State. Then they finish with Wisconsin. They're the only team in the West that controls their own destiny. I mean, we all, at some point, really control our own destiny, but in terms of football, ism in the Big Ten West.
Yes.
They haven't won a Big Ten title since 1967. But they hold the head-to-head tiebreaker with Iowa and Nebraska. They have to go to Ohio State before Ohio State plays Michigan. So that schedule, there's probably a loss on there. But they have the best path. All they have to do is win. They got to go 4-0. All right, next team.
4, they could.
Let's go Wisconsin.
All right, Wisconsin, which I thought Wisconsin looked more stronger against Ohio State than Penn State did. But Wisconsin's got some injuries now.
Yep.
Their running back depth may be tested a little bit.
Who would have thought?
So Wisconsin needs to win out, and they need Iowa to lose once. So Wisconsin's lost 2 of their last 3. But here's their remaining schedule. At Indiana, Northwestern at home, then they have Nebraska at home, possibly a night game, oh, by the way, and then at Minnesota. How many losses in there?
That is probably your best opportunity to go 4-0.
Yeah, they could run the table with that schedule.
Okay, so if they do, then that would include, but they still need Iowa to lose.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
So they would be fans of Nebraska. Okay, next
And
team.
Brian Ferentz.
Let's look at Iowa.
All right, Iowa right now, coming off a bye week, they need to win out, and they have to have Minnesota lose once. So they play at Wrigley Field this weekend against Northwestern. It is an historic low total.
30?
28.
Is it gone down? Because it was 29.5 when I checked.
Oh, it's impressive.
Let me confirm. It is. Oh, it's up to 31. Whoa.
Well, people have lost their mind. So that game's at Wrigley Field. Keep in mind, the highest scoring game at Wrigley Field this year was August 1 when the Cubs beat the Reds 20-9. So they play at Wrigley Field.
That won't happen.
All of a sudden, Northwestern is 4-4.
Yeah.
So they're going to give out an award in the Big Ten this year. It's going to be the Big Ten Coach of the Year that is not Jim Harbaugh or Ryan Day. And then there are 3 candidates, Greg Schiano, David Braun, and Matt Rule. Northwestern football is 4-4.
Yep.
They are 4-4. That's amazing. But they'll play at Wrigley Field against the Hawkeyes this weekend, and there will be a ton of black and gold at Wrigley Field.
Yeah.
So need to win out, need Minnesota to lose once. This is what is remaining for Iowa. Now, this schedule is not bad. At Northwestern, Wrigley Field, Rutgers, Illinois, and then they finish on Black Friday at Nebraska. So here is Nebraska's path to the Big Ten title game. They need to simply win out, so they got to go 4-0, and then they need Minnesota to lose once. And remember, Minnesota plays at Ohio State week 12.
Yeah.
At Michigan State this weekend, Nebraska is a slight favorite against Michigan State that has lost 6 in a row by an average of 22 points. And if you think Nebraska and Iowa's offense is bad, Michigan State's offense is dreadful. But their defense is okay. There are certain aspects of the program that are on quit watch, but their defense isn't getting a lot of help. But at least they have shown a pulse. You don't get the sense that when you watch their defense that they're quitting. Offensively, they're going to have another quarterback this weekend. So that's what's up against for Nebraska. Then you have Maryland. Then you go to Madison, and then you have Iowa.
Yep.
Win out, need Minnesota to lose once. And you're assuming that Minnesota will lose at Ohio State.
Right.
Or get knocked off by Wisconsin in the rivalry game in Minneapolis on the final Saturday of the regular season. This is great because this path
doable
for all of these teams. This is glorious in the goodbye to the Big Ten West because there could just be ultimate chaos that goes on. But there's a lot of games in there where they're head to head where they mean something.
Yeah.
So it is all real. 4 teams have a realistic path to winning the Big Ten West. Now, Northwestern is still in play. If Northwestern wins out and Nebraska loses once, your Wildcats could be in Indianapolis. They have Iowa at Wisconsin, Purdue at Illinois.
And that's not crazy either.
Now, to be fair, because I don't want to overlook Purdue and Illinois, here's their path to get to the Big Ten title game. Purdue has to win out. Then they need Iowa, Nebraska, Wisconsin to lose multiple games. At Michigan, Minnesota, at Northwestern, Indiana. Good luck this weekend in Ann Arbor.
Yeah. Michigan coming off the bye week.
Well, they've been a little preoccupied.
Yeah.
We'll see how
Yeah.
focused or how ramped up they are. And then you're Fighting Illini. Now, this is where it gets a little trickier for them to make it to Indy. They must win out. Then they need Iowa, Minnesota, Nebraska, Wisconsin to lose multiple games, and they need Purdue to lose once. Is anybody doubting in the year of 2023 in the Big Ten West, in the goodbye, that a scenario where Illinois is in play when they play Northwestern in Champaign on the final Saturday could actually happen?
It would be the most Big Ten West thing to happen.
And it would still be half empty there because they wouldn't realize they're still alive.
Almost feel like it needs to happen. Gosh, it's
11 a.m. on BTN.
Now, obviously, the teams that are trailing, the 4 that are tied, there's a little bit more legwork that you don't control. But the four teams that are tied, if you look at the scenarios that are in front of them, like none of them necessarily seem like absurd. Like, okay, yeah, technically record-wise they're tied, but do you really think that they would be the team? Like, I think depending on what Braylon Allen's status is, I think Wisconsin, with the path that they have, is a very doable one. But then, when you look at Iowa, I would have said Iowa, given what that they have, in a very similar to what Nebraska is, that you're not playing any of the major crossovers from the East anymore. You've already gone through that. Wisconsin just went through that last week, and it went the way, as far as getting a loss. But there you are, still part of this thing, that who takes advantage of their schedule the best right now? Because now you do have all these teams, Wisconsin, Nebraska, and Iowa, all locking up with each other. And so you do get that, like, okay, is the game at home? Is the game on the road? And, injury situations are obviously a big part of this too. Who's healthy in these, like, this is something that I remember talking about at the beginning of last year of can Nebraska, because I think if I remember the schedule correctly last year, you had Minnesota later as well. And you kind of looked at all the teams that were going to be considered to be in the mix of the Big Ten West. And the way that it was on Nebraska schedules, you had 3 of those teams. And I mean, we didn't realize Illinois would be as good as they were, but you had 3 of those teams between Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin all there in the last 5 weeks of the schedule for Nebraska. So it was something where I think we all wanted to see, hey, get to November to where now you're playing in games where head-to-head can really put you one step closer. And obviously didn't work out that well for Nebraska last year. But now here you are again with the schedule that remains for Nebraska, where you've got still Wisconsin and Iowa, one at home, one on the road. And you've got this interesting game on the road in East Lansing. And then a Maryland team that, right now is fighting it. So you have, and obviously Iowa and Wisconsin still have Nebraska too. So where you have all this movement that can take place each week, but how much is going on outside of that game? Say like when Nebraska's playing Michigan State, how many people are going to be paying attention to all the other scenarios that are going on? Like it just, this is fun is what I'm getting at. I mean, we've got November football that not only are we watching what Nebraska's doing in their game, but we're also watching what Iowa's doing, what Wisconsin's doing, what's Minnesota doing, because there's actually something on the line. I mean, bowl game, yes, obviously that's what you want to see, but also in this last year of the Big Ten West to be able to see these games and not be like, hey, all right, we don't want to see Iowa go to the Big Ten championship game, so let's try to wreck their party. Or we don't want to see Wisconsin go. Let's see if we can kind of, really make this thing dirty. No, you're actually now part of, you win, you've got a shot. Keep winning, you've got a shot. You've got a great shot. And then by the end, if you get to that Iowa game where if you win and you're going, my God, who would have thought?
All right, so I'm going to steal something from Bishop because he always has around March Madness time, trying to figure out the path for Creighton of who you're rooting for.
Mm-hmm.
So Wisconsin is at Indiana. Wisconsin's an 8.5-point favorite this weekend. And there's some injury issues with Wisconsin, but Indiana, I thought, would roll over in State College. They were competitive.
Yeah, they were.
And they were right in that game with Penn State. So 8.5, Wisconsin on the road. Then you have Nebraska, of course, now a 3.5-point favorite at Michigan State. Michigan State hasn't won a football game since the 9th of September. Then you have Iowa and Northwestern. Hawkeyes are a 5.5-point at Wrigley Field. FanDuel has the
I got one right now that I'm looking at. It says 31, but
so FanDuel has it at 30.5.
Okay,
which is still remarkably low.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, what do we think of Northwestern?
Look,
Northwestern 2 weeks ago in Lincoln. Northwestern on Saturday against Maryland, when Maryland was like, little sleepy, 11 a.m. game.
Yep.
There's 223 people in the stands.
It was like a spring game.
Northwestern is 4-4. Okay. And then you have Illinois is at Minnesota. Minnesota's only a 3-point favorite in that game.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota may have their 9th string running back and he'll still find a way to run for 150 yards. But that is who you're rooting for this weekend. Is there an upset in there?
I see Illinois winning.
Uh,
Actually, I could see any of these teams pulling. I could see Indiana pulling off an upset. Obviously, they're still playing hard for Tom Allen. So
big Indiana fans.
Yep.
Big Northwestern fans
yeah.
going way back. Michael Wilbon. And then
They all come together.
Big fans of Brett.
I would say the most
I just love that. It's September 30th, or no, it's October 30th, and we can do this exercise.
Yeah.
What is going on around here?
Because it actually has significance, too. It's not just like, all right, there's a 3-way tie or something that doesn't involve Nebraska. The fact that this involves Nebraska, again, who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it after 0-2?
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Lots of people chiming in on this scenario. Hey, you got to do it. I mean, we're the first to do it. Now you know the path. Wisconsin, Nebraska, Iowa, and Minnesota. And don't forget about Purdue, Northwestern, and Illinois. And also that we could have a 7-way tie at 4 and 5.
And that's the beauty of it. Nobody's out of this thing. I mean, yeah, we gave you the 4-way tie, but all teams are involved. You're all in it.
All right, we'll do all of that a little bit later. Jacob Bigelow, Amy Just will stop by. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone. Hey, score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Even think about joining FanDuel, there is no better time to do it than right now.
No better time, and the app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including anything from spreads, player props, over-unders, and much more. So visit FanDuel.com and use the promo code ZONE. Kick off the NFL season. Again, go to FanDuel.com/zone. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL. 21 plus and present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. $5 pregame money line wager required. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable. Bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BET. Try that again. 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
You don't like my old-timey voice?
I always forget you have one, Nick. You don't need to take it personally.
No, it's
Do your old-timey voice, Nick.
Hi.
Wow. Great work, Nick.
You put me on the spot.
Yeah, well, you're the one who was like, why don't you let me do my old man voice? And then you said, hey.
I've got a Richard Nixon impersonation. Oh, can I hear it? Hi.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Bright and chilly for your Monday with the high today in Omaha of 44, but feeling like the upper 30s this afternoon. Expect westerly winds up to 15 miles an hour today. Staying mostly clear with a few partly cloudy conditions as we head overnight tonight. Becoming windy, cold, an overnight low of 24, but feeling like 10. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
Don't miss a moment this fall. Head over to KuglerVision.com right now. That's KuglerVision.com.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a bit of a delay from 108th all the way to 83rd along L Street. Then on Dodge, there's going to be a bit of slowdown from 94th to 90th, and you will be experiencing a bit more traffic from 175th to 171st on Center. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by the Nebraska Lottery.
The Nebraska Lottery hopes you have yourself a classic little Christmas by entering non-winning holiday classic scratch tickets for a chance to win $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, or $20,000. Top prize odds vary by game. Promotion ends January 3rd, 2024.
Many people go back to the dealership out of habit or because they think the dealer is the only one who knows how to fix their car. At Omaha Car Care, we offer a better option. We have ASE certified technicians, the technology to service any vehicle, and free loaner cars. The dealer will sell you a package of services. We'll provide the service you want for your car as your trusted partner. I'm Rick Betker, owner of Omaha Car Care, and we'll be along for the ride.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
This hour is powered by Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair, Nebraska on 1620 The Zone.
The Zone hotline is powered by 42 Degrees, The Source, by your mom's house.
October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Breast cancer is among the most common types of cancers in the United States and accounts for 1 of 3 new female cancers every year. Get familiar with your own breasts with self-exams, and if something doesn't feel right, get it checked out. Find out more at cancer.org.
Attention sales professionals. NRG Media is looking for an accomplished business-to-business salesperson who wants to take their success and skills to a new level. Is this you? Our account executives work with local businesses to create marketing plans to help them get more customers. On air, digital, on-site, audio, video, it's all part of what you could sell. A sales career with NRG lets you make a real difference. Get more info and apply online at nrgmedia.com. NRG Media is an equal opportunity employer.
Make the right call, fans. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Rooferees. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620.
Yeah, the news that broke on Saturday, Matthew Perry, the Friends star, who the relatable Chandler Bing on Friends, who, if you are a sarcastic soul like yours truly, that was the most ideal character on television. But Matthew Perry, who has gone through the trials and tribulations and has been very open about it, but had been on a really, really good path at the age of 54, suffered a cardiac arrest while he was in his jacuzzi in his home in Pacific Palisades, and passing away at the age of 54, and all the tributes that are out there,
young.
especially like the New York apartment, the coffee shop in New York City where where Friends was filmed and based off of. Not seen any of his Friends co-stars that have said anything, but it just has to be devastating. I mean, because it broke during the Nebraska game.
Yeah, we were on our way
Yeah,
back from Lawrence. So
it was right. Yeah, it was right as I was going to hockey's when I saw it.
I didn't see it until I was almost home, like 8:00 Saturday night, and I got like a CNN update on my phone, and it said, and it never gives you like the name; it'll give you star passes away at the age of 54. Hollywood star.
Yeah.
And so I thought, okay, this time I'm going to click on it. Oh my God, Matthew Perry.
Yeah. Yeah, because it was pretty much early Saturday evening is when the news broke, and I think everybody has like their favorite Chandler Bing moments, and then you mentioned with kind of what he had more publicly revealed that he dealt with and in his book, and I was talking to my wife about this on Sunday, where nobody really knows the circumstances exactly what happened, other than what we learned from the initial reports, and that they found him in his jacuzzi at his home. But when you make that battle public like that too, and obviously this was a real substance issue that he had when he was good part of when they were taping Friends. I think you kind of leave yourself a little bit vulnerable to a lot of those different setbacks too. I mean, even if it was something that didn't become the cause of his death or anything like that, like I remember admiring him a lot when he spoke about it publicly, because when he did, it wasn't the same type of guy that we remember, and not just in Friends too, but he'd been in other movies where he just always had kind of that very quick-witted humor. And for him to kind of get real with everybody, to talk about a real struggle that he was going through for a very long time, and to see him kind of take off that Chandler Bing face and actually give you Matthew Perry, the human who was actually going through that, I think that was a lot of people's lasting image of him. And I think all you could do is hope that, he was in a better place. And I hope he was. And I do hope he was in a better place, on his last time on earth, that wasn't any type of an issue. There were no setbacks, but, he got real with a lot of people when it did come to that. And then in part, a lot of his, his co-stars as well, you could tell they supported him, but they also got real with it. And, it was for a show that brought so much laughter and so much joy. Kind of the lasting image that we had of Friends, which is always interesting, is that it was a very serious, very real situation that they were, trying to help their actual friend through. And so that's kind of how I sort of remember Matthew Perry, which I thought was a very brave thing that he addressed head on.
So it happens in threes.
Yeah.
Because also Richard Mole, who played Bull on Night Court, passed away over the weekend at the age of 80.
And he was one of the last remaining of that cast too.
Yeah.
So just John Larroquette?
Yeah, John Larroquette is the last one.
They reprised Night Court, the last year?
Yeah, it just got
on
canceled,
NBC.
actually.
It did?
Yeah.
I thought it was getting like really good reviews. I watched the first couple of episodes.
So did
I have
we.
them on the old DVR.
Yeah.
It got canceled?
Mm-hmm. I wonder if the writer's strike had something to do with that, though. That
Because Marky Post, she passed away like a 21, was it? 2021? Okay.
And then
Harry Anderson
died in 18. And
Mac and Roz. And yeah. So we're at,
we're at 2.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's just, I hate saying, okay, who's next? But I mean, you're right. I mean, we see this with people in the music industry as well. It always seems like it happens that way. But yeah, that's a tough one because I remember just how emotional all of the Friends cast had during the reunion and addressing Matthew Perry's substance addiction and how emotional that was for them, just to relive that, but also to be really proud of him of getting through it. And then now having this blow too, I can imagine how that entire group is feeling right now.
Jonathan, Hockey Dad, says Marsha Warfield is still with us.
Is she? Okay.
She was one of the other.
So Roz, so that's Roz. Okay. I feel bad. I thought Roz passed away too.
both Rozes are still alive. That Roz and Fraser Roz.
A couple of tweets here. Well, a little bit of a news. Cooper Flagg has picked Duke. The top recruit in the 24 class is committed to Duke over UConn. Probably not a surprise. So the Mainer goes to Duke.
Crab cakes and basketball, not in Maryland, but what they do on the East Coast. So, okay. That's the Kansas one is the one I'm kind of paying attention to because Kansas was on his list too, right?
Yeah, he canceled his visit.
Oh, that's right. Okay. That's right. And that was right around the revealing of Kansas not really having any issues at all, like not having any type other than the probation. So I was always kind of curious where Kansas was going to be with some of those recruits. That's right. I forgot that he did cancel that visit.
Jimmy, wasn't he supposed to be at late night?
Yeah.
Late night at Fog?
Yeah. I think it's probably one of those Nike versus Adidas things, which happens one way or the other. They'll steer them to one of their schools or the other. I've seen it the other way too. And, it is what it is, but they, these other schools will be like, we'll be fine. They bought Hunter Dickinson. So
Adam chimes in on the race to go to Indianapolis. Remember, it's okay to finish runner-up, put up the banner, let somebody else go to Indianapolis to play Ohio State or Michigan, which rankings come out tomorrow. Hold that thought for just a moment. It would be fitting for the last year of the divisions in the Big Ten if the winner of the dysfunctional West knocks off Michigan and Ohio State in the conference championship game. It's never happened.
Illinois beats them.
Well, I mean,
people forget that Kurt Phillips once quarterbacked a team to the Big Ten championship.
Oh, yeah.
So the obscure quarterback can't happen. Now,
I believe he attempted 8 passes in that game.
Yeah, he also had some running mates that were pretty good that would go on and play in the NFL.
3 in particular. That would...
The last year of the Big Ten in divisions, the West wins it and just ruins, because I think right now the Big Ten is going to get 2 teams into the playoff. When the rankings are revealed tomorrow, I think Ohio State's number 1.
Ohio State's number 1.
Ohio State's number 1. Does anybody have 2 better victories than Ohio State?
That's a good point. Nope. Not right. I mean, between Notre Dame and Penn State. Nope. Hard pressed to find one. That's it.
Now, the eyeballs may tell you that Ohio State isn't the best team in the country. Right. I don't know what your eyeballs may tell you. Man, Oregon is really good, but geez, they lost, so they're probably not going to be in front of Florida State, Michigan, Georgia, Ohio State. But I think Ohio State, in terms of the best victories, I wouldn't be surprised if they're number 1.
Yeah.
Now, thing to keep in mind when they reveal the rankings for the first time tomorrow, if you are in the top 4 and you don't lose, you're not going out.
Yeah.
So if you're inside of that 4 and you run the table, you're going to the playoff. But Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia, and Florida State, in my opinion, should be the top 4. Whatever order you'd like to put them in, but those should be the top 4 when the playoff rankings are announced tomorrow. And then just on the outside, because I think Oregon is really good. What they did to Utah,
I know.
They bludgeoned Utah in Salt Lake City.
That was impressive.
I whiffed on that pick.
They're essentially Oregon from Dan Lanning, some interesting decision-making at Washington from being in the top 4.
Yeah.
And then look at Washington's got a hangover. Washington hasn't looked good for 2 weeks.
They got lucky the other night.
And then don't forget about Alabama. Alabama just kind of keeps hanging around.
They got LSU this weekend.
But I think the Big Ten is in a good spot. As long as Ohio State and Michigan get to that game, the big game, unbeaten, they've got a really good shot to get 2 teams in.
You know, the more I think about it too, you're right. Like, because I get it, this is a weekly thing, and this will eventually take care of itself for Michigan when they finally get to that part of their schedule when they get Penn State and then Ohio State. But who would Michigan's best win be against right now? Would it
Rutgers
be Minnesota? Yeah. Rutgers? Yeah, Rutgers. I mean, that's what it is. Because their non-conference was East Carolina, UNLV, and Bowling Green. So
they're actually their best victory right now might be against stupidity kicking in.
How do you respond from that? How do you respond from that?
I did see some fans Saturday at the game that took you up on your offer, though not
directly.
directly.
Did you know them, by the way?
I was alerted to the 2 that were way up in the South Stadium before they got there.
Yeah, okay.
And we do not claim them if they got arrested, but it was funny.
So that had nothing to do with what we talked about on Friday.
So there was another person, there was somebody listens to the show, DM me during the game. They took a picture. There was somebody else in the North Stadium. Or no, in the North Stadium.
That was doing it too.
So the 2 kids were way up in the top.
Yeah,
of
I mean
the North Stadium.
They were like below the
There was
scoreboard.
somebody kind of down low in the South Stadium who was dressed as a Michigan fan.
It was great. They had the binocs. They didn't have the cell phone. They had the binocs the whole time too.
They would have been listening. They could have gotten some.
So someone had tweeted to us that it was, and so I immediately thought, oh, were these the people? And because I know you have tickets in the South side, so I'm like, oh, did Mr. Sharp give up his Southside tickets for these gentlemen? So I didn't know if we knew them or if you knew them or not, if that was part of what we were talking about on Friday.
But before they entered the stadium, someone had said, hey, do these two belong to you? Never seen them in my life.
Okay, just checking.
It was great, though, because, I mean, you had Halloween costumes going on, too. So it was okay if you weren't, if you're a Husker fan, you weren't wearing the red or a lot of the black that was being seen in the stadium as well.
Hey, I don't ask for a lot. I just want, because of what's boiling right now, and Michigan's going to get what's coming to them. I just don't think it's going to happen in season.
Nope.
Yeah. Ironically, Ward Manuel is on the playoff committee. It's just one after another. And then the latest is that maybe a ball boy was stealing signals.
You had Football Scoop yesterday report. They rescinded their offer to make Jim Harbaugh the highest paid coach.
So that's not right. They have paused it.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
they paused it.
But I just want Ohio State and Michigan to get to the big game unbeaten, because you already know how huge a game that is. Because this will be the Michigan storyline this week that they will push. Is it's Ryan Day who kickstarted all of this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it just adds more.
Have
Please get us to that game. Now, it's not in Columbus this year.
Yeah.
So it's okay. You're on your home turf.
Yep.
But please take care of Ohio State. Don't stumble. Okay. Michigan beat Penn State. Please have a matchup of two unbeatens where it'll be even more petty than it already is.
Yes.
Because Michigan fans think Ryan Day is the person that started all of this, that he snitched on Michigan.
And you know what happens to snitches?
I would too. Hey, I'm Ohio State coach. That's Michigan.
Yep.
Oh, I'm turning over state's evidence.
Especially if you're not doing that.
Yeah.
If you're doing that, maybe you pause a little bit. But if you know you're not doing that, you're stealing signs in other ways, shapes and form.
Hey,
hell yeah.
There's no chance that game day will be in Columbus before that.
I don't think so. Okay, they got Rutgers, Michigan State, and Minnesota. No.
So we will not have a Ryan Day on the same set as Desmond Howard. Just checking.
It's not likely.
But pencil them in for Ann Arbor here in about a month.
I mean, they are in Piscataway this weekend. Maybe you could really drum up some excitement for that one. But yeah,
You're talking about Ohio State, not game day, right?
No, I'm talking about Ohio State. Yeah, Ohio State. They're at Rutgers, then home to Michigan State and Minnesota before they.
One quick observation before we go to break, because the Big Ten and 60 is replaying the Nebraska-Purdue game.
Yeah.
They don't shut up. Every single play, it seems like there was a Purdue player that is woofing.
Yeah.
Even down 14-0.
They did it before the game.
Oh, yeah.
They went and got after Nebraska defensive backs. Now, the mouthpiece over there is Tommy Hill, and he talks nonstop. But Purdue in this game, like, there's this.
They talk a lot for a team that got its butt kicked.
Oh. They just showed the end around with Jalen Lloyd. Nate Borkature. That won't be good film study. If he holds that block.
Yeah, that's a big play.
Lloyd gets a big chunk play. But look at this. So Harburg gets sacked, and there's 6 guys that are celebrating, and then the defensive player turns and says something to Harburg.
And they're down 14-0 at this state.
Man, you're 2-6. All right, you're gonna be 2-7 after Saturday. Be better. They're the worst team in the Big Ten West. My eyeballs this last month tell me you're the worst team in the Big Ten West. All right, 54 past the hour. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620.
Hey, over at DJ's Dugout, whether you're getting into Monday Night Football tonight or Nebraska's game against Michigan State or everything in between, no better place. With 7 metro area locations for over 30 years, DJ's has always been Omaha's own casual and comfortable, iconic sports bar. No better place to watch games with all of those great media walls. There's not a bad seat in the house. And as I said, 7 metro locations. There's one in your neighborhood. Daily food and drink specials. Again, whether you're watching football, volleyball, basketball, it doesn't matter. They've got it at DJ's Dugout, and they can handle large groups too. DJ's Dugout, locally in Vietnam, veteran-owned. Dig in at the Dugout.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. Omaha's most listened to all sports radio station. Again and again and again. 1620 The Zone.
If you haven't updated your windows, you could be throwing money out the window. Don't let the cool air out. Upgrade today with J-Tech Construction. For a limited time, get 60 months with 0% interest. Plus, as an added bonus, every window gets a special rated UV upgrade for free. Save money, keep the cool air in, and be happier when you upgrade your windows with the official exterior experts of Nebraska Athletics. For more info, go to yourexteriorexperts.com. Subject to credit approval.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Howdy, Greg Wagner joining you from the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission. Time now for another Nebraska Outdoor Update. Attention migratory bird hunters, it's time to get HIP, your new Harvest Information Program number, that is. It's required by law and is done through the permit system on the Game and Parks website at outdoornebraska.gov. That's outdoornebraska.gov. I wish you a safe hunting season. Say it's the time of year to catch big fish in Nebraska. Zzz, boop, and go visit a state parkland. This time of year, larger game fish are putting on the fat reserves for the upcoming cold weather season, and they're more apt to be caught. And Nebraska's 76 area state parklands, the grounds to those remain open for all kinds of outdoor recreation, including camping. So come see us. That'll wrap it up for now. Thank you for listening. I'm Greg Wagner with the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission.
If you're a veteran or know a veteran who's having thoughts of suicide or experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis, the Veterans Crisis Line provides direct connection to free, confidential, and compassionate support. Dial 988, then press 1, and you'll be connected to a trained crisis counselor who will listen, provide support, and connect you to additional resources if needed. Thank you for your service. We owe you our support. Dial 988, then press 1. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hey, if you're thinking about getting the latest iPhone, check this out. With Boost Infinite, you get the latest iPhone every year and unlimited wireless for just $60 a month. Yeah, you get the new iPhone 15 Pro with titanium. Then again, next year, you get the latest iPhone. Every year. Boost Infinite. Infinitely better. To learn more, pick up your phone, dial pound 250 and say Boost Infinite. That's pound 250 and say Boost Infinite. Terms apply. After 30 gigabytes, service may be slow. Receive a comparable iPhone model each year with an acceptable trade-in every year. Requires credit qualification and 36-month phone financing agreement. You'll have the option to receive a one-time auto-dial text message from this station's network.
If you're the kind of person who has the attitude that when you do a job, you do it right, not just one time, every single time, congratulations. You're a rare individual, the kind of individual the Langfeld family wants to pay very well to join the awesome crew at Langfeld Overhead Door. That's because the Langfeld family believes strongly in treating their employees right. You know, doing what's right, like you do on the job. Opportunities are available now. Click langfelddoors.com. That's langfelddoors.com. Equal opportunity employer.
1620 The Zone at 1620thezone.com. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Game 3 of the World Series tonight. Considering how great Game 1 was, still have no idea why Travis Kelce was there. It was in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
There is also Monday Night Football, Raiders and Lions. Larger audience?
World Series.
Football.
Or the NFL.
Go Lions.
Just the Lions is I don't know. Is it captivating the sports world? Or is it just the fact that it's the NFL?
How did people do gambling this weekend? That'll go a long way into the interest in the NFL game.
That's true. You could be chasing a lot tonight in Monday Night Football because of yesterday.
Crushes baseball tonight.
But the World Series, though, so it's 1-1 going back to Phoenix. And Max Scherzer, bandaged up, will pitch against a guy named Fat.
Not Fat Lever.
No, it's a guy that's got a 5.7 ERA. But the series is a game apiece, and Texas is 8-0 on the road in the postseason. But the first two games, man, I think I would be more apt to say Arizona should be up 2-0 going home.
Mm-hmm.
And I think all of us across the board pick the Rangers?
No, I took Arizona in 7.
Okay.
Yeah,
You're
Rangers in
sitting
7.
you're sitting pretty good because Arizona has played really well in this series. It's been a well-played series. There haven't been an error. And then Arizona's gotten the running game going. But if you look at, Texas starting pitching has been Simeon isn't hitting. Now Walker isn't hitting for the Diamondbacks. But I think the first 2 games, Arizona has been the better team.
Yeah. Pitching favors Arizona here in these middle games.
Well, and then I got home Friday night just in time to see, we were kind of paying attention to that in the penalty box there with your buddy Norm, by the way. He was making sure he was updating me every inning. But we got home, and it was right before the Seager bomb. And so you see that happen, and then, obviously everyone knows what happens in extra innings too with Garcia. But then kind of the similar situation there on Saturday, not getting a chance to see the whole thing, but also watching there towards the tail end and just seeing Arizona kind of just basically pile on there towards the end there against Texas. Like that to me, it was just impressive, just the way that Texas had been hitting the ball. And when you kind of think about what Arizona has been doing, and we talked about the running game, and that had been a big part of this too. How many stolen bases do we get Friday night? How many? It didn't take long for the free tacos, right? It was what, like 3 or 4?
Yeah, it was early.
Between both teams. I know both had it, but with Merrill Kelly having kind of stabilized that game on Saturday too. And this is the guy that I was talking about when he pitched, which was it 6 or it was game 6, right, against the Phillies. I'm trying to remember. Like watching a little bit of the highlights of what was working for him too, and just kind of seeing how he's able to drop that curveball again. I was so impressed with it last time, and then seeing that being a huge weapon against the Rangers too, for an offense that they're dangerous. And you hold Garcia listening that game too. Like that just one of these wins, come back from heartache, from absolute devastation of having that game won in the 9th inning. And then just to give up a 2-run bomb by Seager and then to lose it in extras and then to come out and really just kind of control that game from the start and then to pile on there at the end. Like it's hard to look at Arizona with not having so much momentum going in and what they feel like they're doing, like what has made them a good team too. And you get good pitching, you're able to be aggressive between first and third, and you're getting timely hitting. Hell, even Evan Longoria is getting in on it. Like there's kind of good vibes right now with the Diamondbacks who are going back home.
Game 3 tonight, ESPN will not talk about the World Series because the Cowboys won yesterday. So they will talk about the Cowboys all day, and then they'll sneak in that we are carrying the Monday night game. So whatever you would wish, you get Game 3 of the World Series, or you get the Raiders and the Lions and the reincarnation of Jared Goff. That line that's a big line. That's 7.5 at home in the Dome in Ford Field. Monday Night Football is
Lions,
back, baby.
This is 2023 Lions.
Well, they'll play better after last Sunday.
Hey, I know football didn't happen yesterday. Are the Bengals back?
Yes, and they're scary. That makes me. I put Joe Burrow under center.
He looked
more yesterday.
Wow.
They have weapons. They actually use them.
Yeah. A lot of it has. He's healthy.
And that's the thing.
No issues with that calf.
He was flicking it left and right, getting it out quick.
They're scary again, but they have a tendency to get off to a slow start, and then all of a sudden they take off because last year they were 4-4?
Yeah.
And then they rattled off 10 in a row.
In fact, I didn't really take them seriously.
With that calf injury, though, that was my hesitation of, we've seen this before where it's like, okay, it's easy to kind of trust the Bengals and trust Joe Burrow, but calf injuries, those things nag, those things linger. And if he, and you could tell he wasn't right early on. Like yesterday, it looked like he had no issue whatsoever, and against a damn good San Francisco team. Like that was impressive.
Ooh, a damn good San Francisco team.
I still like that San Francisco team.
5-3. Purdy is turning the ball over.
Purdy looks a little off, but again, you still don't have Debo yet. Like I feel like there's some explainable things with San Francisco. That's still a team that I would not want to mess with.
Nick Bosa took all the money from the Niners and has completely disappeared.
I still like the Niners.
I think it's weird. One of the storylines. Yeah. I mean, he's
didn't expect
Defensive Player of the Year last year, and he has been basically non-existent.
Mm-hmm.
I almost asked, is he hurt? Because that's how it seems like.
I want to know if Brock Purdy came in, if he should not have been cleared of concussion protocol.
Well, then he got dinged again, and they didn't even check him for a concussion.
Right. His helmet goes back.
They missed Trent Williams. They missed Deebo Samuel. but they miss D'Amico Ryans.
Yeah.
Coordinating that defense in a big, big way. All right, quick break. We'll come back hour number 3 a little bit later. Jacob Bigelow, Amy Just on Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, over at Woodhouse Auto Family, look, it was about 23 years ago. I was looking for a Ford Ranger, looking to lease it, and went to a bunch of different dealers. And I went over to Woodhouse in Blair, and I said, hey, this is what I want. I just looking for this car, but I also have a certain price point, and they made it as easy as possible. And here I am, 2023, still a loyal Woodhouse customer, made the switch over to Mazda. And there's a reason. It's customer service. It is important to know that when you go to Woodhouse, they prioritize you, your needs, and everything from what you're looking for. But most importantly, they understand everybody has a budget. Woodhouse is your one-stop shop for all of your vehicle needs. You've got options with 19 brands to choose from, everything from Ford, Chevy, Jeep, Ram, Mazda, Lincoln, and more. They are the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. You also get the peace of mind that comes with the certified techs that will get the job done and offer expertise when it comes to getting your car serviced as well. They can do it all. Browse their full lineup, new and certified pre-owned vehicles, over 1,500 pre-owned vehicles on the lot and ready to drive home, plus nationwide delivery for your vehicle. Convenience delivered every time. This is Woodhouse.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a bit of a delay from 108th all the way to 83rd along L Street. Then on Dodge, there's going to be a bit of slowdown from 94th to 90th, and you'll be experiencing a bit more traffic from 175th to 171st on Center. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Signworks.
Since 1935, businesses all around Omaha have trusted one sign company with their visual branding, Signworks. We design, manufacture, and install signs of all kinds, including high-tech message centers like the new installation at Steelhouse Omaha. We can make your sign too. Signworksomaha.com.
This hour is powered by Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair, Nebraska on 1620 The Zone.
Over the past few years, the COVID-19 pandemic has affected how we live our daily lives. Today, we also face a mental health pandemic that threatens our well-being as we attempt to rebuild our social networks and communities.
The pandemic has reminded us to value family, community, and our human connections. However, it has also left many of us feeling more isolated, confused, and alone, struggling to find meaning amid loss and uncertainty.
Today, 1 in 5 Americans experience emotional and mental health challenges, but many of us do not understand what we are facing or know how to ask for help.
At the American Psychiatric Association Foundation, we understand what you are going through, and we are here to help. Our vision is to build a mentally healthy nation for all. We work every day to eliminate stigma, combat mental illness and substance use disorders, and advance mental health. If you or someone you love needs help, you are not alone. Please visit mentallyhealthynation.org to learn more.
A commitment to volunteer service is one of the many things that makes Nebraska so special. Volunteers give their time, energy, and resources, and they ask for nothing in return. The Step Forward Awards ensures they're recognized for all they do. Those honored this year for the impact they've made in their communities are Beverly Hansen of Bertrand, Maddie Kuchera of Raymond, Dennis Hines of Bellevue, Robert and Helen Arnold of Crawford, Wood River Vision 2020 and Wood River, Rolane Glasser of Lincoln, Roger Peak in Omaha, Senator Mike McDonald of Omaha, and Mara Shai of Gehring. Serve Nebraska thanks all nominators, nominees, and sponsors for helping us celebrate volunteerism. To learn more about the Step Forward Awards and this year's honorees, visit serve.nebraska.gov, sponsored by Serve Nebraska, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call on the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, We take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620, The Zone.
Monday morning, where there will be a November to remember for football around here. Coaching matters. Put it on a t-shirt. Just remind yourself, if you have a competent football program that you currently cover or root for, coaching matters. On and off the field. It's nice, isn't it?
It is.
A couple of emails here in the Equitable Bank inbox where they take banking personally. This is from the Lego Maniac. Black shirts have reached such a ridiculous level that when the offense return teams turns the ball over in Nebraska territory, not only do they keep them out of the end zone, but they actually push the opposing team back out of field goal range so they don't even get 3 points. They started at the 32. They ended at the 33. Usually it's considered a win in that situation for a defense to hold the other team to 3 points, but the Black shirts are going to the next level to actually push teams out of field goal range. That was their best defensive game of the year. Purdue did not have 100 yards rushing, did not have 100 yards passing. And their touchdown, Sanford almost made an unbelievable play going up and knocking it down. I mean, it was one of Card's better throws of the day. But remember, they also insisted with this Graham Harrell air raid to have him throw into a stiff wind, which made no sense. Best day of the year for that defense.
Yeah. And when we talked on Friday, I kind of pointed to this defense and just talking about how it felt like this game seemed like it had an opportunity to be one of those days for this Nebraska defense, meaning a good one. And because you just think about some of the things that was brought up by Tony White when he talked about what Purdue does well. And he kind of made a reference point to, and I think even Matt Rule did too, about what Louisiana Tech was able to do against them a little bit. And it was kind of more of a bend, don't break. This is where, and going back to what you just said, coaching matters. This is where we can talk about all the great things about Tony White. We can talk about all the great things about Evan Cooper and Rob Dvorak and Terrence Knighton. And we can talk about that staff, I think, till we're blue in the face, and it's justified. But like the players, like, remember after the Northwestern game, like Ty Robinson is up there talking about, you know, how they gave up fourth quarter points and a lot of the things that they hold themselves accountable for in their goals. Like that wasn't legitimate, like, or that was legitimate. Like, I think they were pissed off. And I think they looked at a lot of what maybe kind of in a similar scheme, what Purdue wants to do, like what Louisiana Tech did, and made it a point to make the necessary corrections, but also knowing that there was a little bit more of a mobile quarterback that was coming in, that they were going to be a little taken to a little extra test there as well. And having the contributions that you had all over that field, like it goes back to something that I think people have really been able to pick up on early in the season, but it continues to get discussed, that it is just flat out fun to be a black shirt right now. Like we talked about the recruiting impact of what it can be like right now. If you are a defensive player and you are looking at Nebraska and you're thinking, I got some other offers too. Man, that group looks like they have a lot of fun. Man, that group looks like they are well coached. And just that part of it, but also from a fan standpoint of typically when the defense is on the field, especially here in the last maybe decade, your stomach was a little bit in knot, thinking what is going to happen here. Now it's like you almost get excited. Like, I don't know how many people, when Nebraska gives up the ensuing kickoff, that there are people in the stands saying, oh God, we got to put the defense already to a major test.
Oh no, they were like,
I think people are like, game on.
Report to the principal's office.
There's that. But I think as far as the confidence in the defense compared to maybe games 1, 2, or 3, you're like, all right, let's see what they got. I mean, like you were actually confident. And then throughout that game, I keep going back to so many different moments where the defense, like the Illinois game, where they get down to the 1 yard line. Inside the 1 yard line, they got a third and a fourth down crack at it, and Nebraska stones them. What did the defense do the rest of that game? They took over. They took over that game. Similar situation here, not up at the goal line, but You got a ball that doesn't bounce your way. All of a sudden, another turnover. You got to save the day. And Zach's right. Normally, you give up a field goal and you're thinking, hey, that's great. We kept him out of the end zone. That's not how this defense thinks. And then when they are able to execute the way that they did and you get that result, you watch how everything from that point on just takes over the game. It's amazing how when they set the tone the way that they have pretty much every game, how they just continue to feed off it and get better and better. And it becomes so overwhelming for an offense. It's just, I cannot think of a more enjoyable defensive performance in a long time than what you collectively see like that.
Matt Rule speaks later today ahead of Michigan State. We're curious to see an update on Omar Brown. That did not look great. So another twist and turn of this weekend is Buford could be back, but Sanford has played well enough that I don't know that you need to extend Buford. You need to preserve his red shirt. But if Brown is injured and they moved Hartzog back to safety, I don't remember Malcolm Hartzog really being mentioned at all or in being involved in plays. There was a couple of there was a pass breakout, but other than that, which is probably a good thing. But Lynham and Collier are probably going to have to play a little bit more on Saturday in East Lansing. So there you go. There's the next twist in personnel on defense. Evan Cooper, who not only that was the best day for Nebraska defensively, that was the best game of the season by Nebraska defensive backs.
Yeah,
in terms of executing the game plan, closing in on any pass, open field tackling. They had a stellar day. Nobody had as good a day as Isaac Gifford, but as a whole, that's the best defensive performance Nebraska's had all year. All right, here is Mike. Mike, thanks for the call on the 42 Degree The Source hotline. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, guys. How are you doing?
Good, Mike. You have a little pep in your voice. It's a Victory Monday. How we doing?
Oh, we're doing better, man. Iowa looks bad, so it's always good. But I was calling about our quarterback situation. What if, God forsake it, Harbaugh would go down? Who's the starting quarterback? Because I'll tell you, my honest opinion was before this last game, I wanted Harbaugh to stay the starting quarterback, but to have plays or have a series for Sims, to put him in there, keep him ready or whatever. But after being benched, after game 2 or whatever, after being benched,
now he wasn't he wasn't benched. He'd still be playing, Mike, if he hadn't gotten injured.
He got hurt. Okay. But anyway, after 3 plays, turning the wrong way one time, a handoff right up the middle, and a fumble, I hope he never touches the ball in a Nebraska uniform ever again. And that's, I don't know if you don't have it by now. And is Chuba, is he that far behind? I don't know. Are we going to look for a quarterback in the portal, or is a guy coming from Bellevue West? Is he good enough to back up right away?
He'll be a nice addition to the quarterback room, but they will. I said it a few weeks ago. Their quarterback for 2024, one of their 2 quarterbacks is not on campus. Yeah, Jeff Sims, Mike, Jeff Sims might have a better chance of playing at Georgia State next year than Nebraska. Matter of fact, it's probably pretty good.
I agree with that. But I was just worried about injury.
No. Well, I mean, so you're right, Mike. Thanks for the call about Harbaugh, because Mike, do I need to go down to Lincoln and teach him how to run? Look at me, a fat guy running. At least I don't run stiff. Yeah. Okay, I keep moving my legs when I get hit, because Harbaugh, I know he's a big guy. But, dude, he got blasted again. Purdue put essentially 8 to 10 in the box every time. And Harbaugh is runs with authority through the hole, and he runs stiff. Boy, he takes some monster hits. He gets up, but I don't know if he's got Michigan State, Maryland, Wisconsin, Iowa that are going to try and tattoo him. But somebody's got to teach him how to run. First of all, teach him how to slide.
Yes.
And then also how to protect himself. And why do we run so stiff? And why do our legs stop running on contact? That I don't get, because there are some guys that I think he could run through. But him getting injured is a real thing, because Purdue they tried to knock him out of the game. I mean, he got stuck.
Yeah, there was that high-low hit that,
and he did keep getting up, but but we can't keep counting on that.
Yeah, there were a lot of moments in that game, and that high-low hit especially, where you had a defender, and I can't remember if it was, because they were all over the place. It might have been. I don't think Thieneman was in on it, but it might have been Scorton or maybe Jenkins. I don't know, but there was that high-low hit, and that was the one where I'm like, okay, he's probably going to have a tough time getting up. And if I remember the very first time we really got a glimpse of Heinrich Haarberg running the football, and if you go to that Northern Illinois game, he seemed to be a little better at sort of withstanding the contact. And that's why I wonder if a lot of those hits have kind of changed the way that he's sort of engaged with the defender. Because I 100% agree with you that there's a perfect solution to that, and that is to learn how to slide a lot more. But he looks different running the football these last two games, but especially in this one. And you're right about going inside when you're talking about on the option, they take away the wide angle, and so he's cutting it up and he's kind of pushed back inside. He gets a lot taller, and he's just not moving the same way. And I understand you're probably number one priority is trying to take care of the football, but taking care of your body, man, it's just, I don't know how much he can take before he's gonna get at level, whether it's in upper, whether he might get hit. I mean, it might be a targeting. I don't know, but the amount of contact that he sort of engages in and doesn't really have that type of ability to get low, to get down, to kind of take on that contact as well as I think he did against Northern Illinois. And I'm not sure why that is. Maybe, again, it's the cumulative effect of all those hits. It worries me. And then, to Mike's point, you see Jeff Sims come in, and you could not have – look, he came in cold. It literally in a cold day. So not to make excuses, but there's that part of it. They're still going to go to Jeff Sims. It's not like Chubba Purdy is going to be the guy that they go to if this happens again this weekend. And it could not have been a worse. Oh, remember Jeff Sims? Like, I think there was probably some natural intrigue of, okay, Jeff Sims has been sitting for a while. He's going to get a series here. Let's see what he does. And then you see that, and you're like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, Saturday answered a couple questions. If you were wondering, is Haarberg the guy for the future, or I want Jeff Sims, Saturday answered your question.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Jeff Sims just can't play football at Nebraska. It's too much, whether it shouldn't have been the play that was called or whatever. That's a problem, and that's a problem that has to be erased by Nebraska. And I will tell you this. So of the positive things that Matt Rule has done this year, I'm willing to give him and his offensive coordinator a mulligan on their infatuation with Jeff Sims. Sure, they saw something that we didn't, thinking they could fix it. They haven't been able to fix it. Jeff Sims is who he is. Thankfully for this football program, he's now part of a culture where the locker room doesn't get turned upside down by a guy not playing.
Yep.
Okay? He's a good guy. He's a good teammate. But he's not going to play football here. So Satterfield and Rule, I'll give you a mulligan. But I'm telling you what, you only get that one time at that key position because you have to fix that position and you have to find the right guy. And that guy is probably sitting in the portal. But you know that there's a ton of competition for quarterbacks that are going to be in the portal. So where's your competition where you think you have a leg up? Lincoln Kleinholz. I keep going back to him at Ohio State, the kid from South Dakota that was very interested in Nebraska, but Nebraska somehow, because quarterbacks that are within a 500-mile radius, not named Haarberg, they don't give the time of day to. Okay, he goes to Ohio State. I mean, Tristan Gebbia was going to be the guy that came in for McCord if he wouldn't have been able to play on Saturday night. I thought it was Kleinholz, but looks like they're going to preserve his red shirt. So there's a lot of things that line up. Your uncle built the football facility. Your mom has a job in Lincoln. There's a lot of things that line up. He would be coming in not as a guy that has any experience in college, but there would be the one where you wouldn't have to go toe-to-toe and dig deep into 1890s pockets to go get a quarterback. But Saturday showed you Haarberg is not the guy to be a full-time starter at Nebraska. Jeff Sims is not the guy to play football at Nebraska. And I don't know in a pedestrian offense if there is a role for Chubba Purdy. And Chubba Purdy's time at Nebraska may be over. You may get to guys that are graduating in spring, and it's like, time for me to go because this isn't the place for me, especially Purdy. I don't know if there's a path to him playing that doesn't involve Harburg, Sims, and a man named Blue being injured for him to play.
Right.
But Harburg will have a role next year at quarterback. I just don't think it'll be as the starting quarterback. Saturday answered any question you have at that position.
Yeah,
for either one of those guys.
If the offense is going to be part of the solution and not the problem, there just doesn't seem like there's a realistic world where Heinrich Harburg is the face of that progress, is the face of that solution. Because of, again, like this offense, the limitations that you do have. Okay, I love the option pass. Okay, and it's hit now 2 for 2, and then you had a pass interference on one as well. So but this is something that again is sort of a nuance. It's something that defenses are starting to maybe figure out getting a beat on. There needs to be more to his ability to throw the football, which isn't there. Like the first sack, for instance, that wasn't on the offensive line, in my opinion. He had time. He had plenty of time. And that was a not getting rid of it. Clock expired, and then he finally paid for it. There are things in the running game that is big of a weapon as Heinrich Harburg is running the football. Again, the ability to protect yourself and protect the football.
Yeah, the problem with the running game is they got to be able to complete a pass.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what Purdue did. So Purdue was very sloppy with their man concepts. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, did you watch
how so would you say? I guess I thought there were guys, a lot of out routes and stuff like that were probably coming open. Yeah.
Okay, so you know what they did with their safety
when they were bringing him up.
So they used a spy on Harburg with their safety, which was a smart play. So they tried to take away the middle of the field. So a lot of stuff out on the boundaries was available.
Yeah.
But Purdue played a lot of man-to-man, and it was sloppy because you would look at their defensive backs and a cornerback that would be out there in a man-to-man situation. All of a sudden, they would pass the wide receiver off. To who? I mean, they were very poorly coached, or I don't know if that's been an issue all year. I thought on their back end, they were really, really sloppy. Nebraska just did not have the tools in the toolbox to expose it even more. They were able to expose it when they added the play action fake, or they had a clean pocket, which when Harburg was a clean pocket, he was pretty good. I think he was 5 of 6 for like 121 maybe. So, that's essentially all of his passing yards.
Right.
And I thought the offensive line played pretty well, considering that Purdue had 8 to 10 guys essentially the whole game in the box, and every running lane was congested just because it turned into a numbers game. But it was, I don't know, Purdue. There were more yards, and there was the pass interference, and then there was a drop, but there were more yards to be had in the passing game. But you've got to be able to complete a simple pass. Just a little pitch and catch, and do it consistently. Like the play action stuff is great. And time in the pocket and you step up in the pocket is great. And it's worked back-to-back weeks. But do you have faith that it's going to work a third time? Like they ran the little play out of the backfield for Fleeks that was in motion, that Harburg hit him. Great play.
Yeah.
Now, Fleeks isn't a running back. There's no way in this world that Joshua Fleeks lines up in the backfield and runs the football. You just can't. But that option of getting him out on the edge with that speed, great play.
Yep.
But what if you want to run it again? Not going to happen.
No, they're going to pick up on that.
There's another thing I picked up on Saturday that I should have been more aware of. When it comes to Satterfield and Harburg are not a fit. Okay? It would take a whole nother offseason for them to be on the same page. Is Satterfield gets into this thing, and I don't think it's just him. It's offensive coordinators that they have this great play design that it has started on the board, made it to the practice field. You fall in love with that play. And then if that play is not executed well, I think Nebraska, and sometimes they get behind the sticks or they get behind schedule, they don't have a plan B if they have their, oh my God, I love this play. I love this play. It doesn't work. Then you're like, what do we do? Because I'll use that 15-play, 87-yard touchdown drive as an example. They had some great play designs on that drive, and especially their third down
including
concepts
the Fleeks one, yep,
that were executed. So they were able to go on to the next play, and it just seemed like plays were starting to stack during that entire drive. But compare that drive to some other ones where They had a good play design that got blown up on first down, and then it seemed like the rest of the drive just went to hell.
Yeah, and to that point too, when they are off schedule, I've seen this wasn't just on Saturday too. You can go back a couple games when they're off schedule on a third down play. There are many times, and whether this is a Heinrich Harburg thing or this is a play design, a play design flaw, is that you've got at least two guys that are short of the line to gain. And that's where Heinrich Harburg is going too. So you're not even seeing a play that is even taking you to at least even giving yourself. I get it. If you got one-on-one man coverage and it's a crossing pattern, then you're just waiting for him to clear and you're trying to get him the ball in stride so he can turn the corner and get to the sticks. But we're talking about some stop routes and some actual design patterns where, on a 3rd and 12, they're throwing that ball 7 yards with two guys right behind the receiver. So like whether that is, again, a Heinrich Harburg execution standpoint or that is an offensive play calling flaw, could be a little bit of both there too. Just using that example right there from when Nebraska gets off course, when they get out off schedule there, where you do not see a lot of that efficiency on third down, because I don't know if I'm not sure if it's more of the play design or if it's the quarterback. There's something there that they like that is going to get them the necessary yards, or if that just doesn't exist because all of a sudden we're panicking because we're off schedule.
This what the blueprint, Purdue wasn't able to execute it for the most part. And Purdue has a couple of guys on that side of the ball that will play in the NFL, even though they're a bad team in 23. I do like the recruiting for 24, but that's a bad team in 23. But they have a couple of young guys on the defensive side of the ball that are going to play on Sundays. Them shadowing in their strong safety with Harburg, and then basically trying to take away the middle of the field. And Purdue's not alone. People are disrespecting Nebraska's passing game. Is what does Nebraska do this week in prep? Because Michigan State will run with the same concepts until they get blown up, until Nebraska completes more than just a big explosive play that doesn't have a play action option element to it. If they don't, then every team from here on out is going to do the same thing, and they're going to force Harburg to make plays.
Yep.
And that's probably he'll make one out of every three.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
is essentially where we're
that's
at.
fair.
All right, here is David before the break. Good morning, David. Welcome to the show.
Hey, what's happening, fellas?
How you doing, David?
Hey, I'm good, man. I listened to you guys talk about the quarterback situation, and I like Harbaugh because I believe that he gives Nebraska an identity, at least as far as a physical running team. Even though I do agree with you as far as some of his running style, but I think what's evident, and I'm going to follow this with a couple of points. I think what's evident is, number one, a lot of what people have believed over the last few years has come into fruition, at least initially, is that in-state talent can make a difference on this team. I don't think that's any more evident than this year. Whether it's Harbaugh stepping in and trying to do his best, or somebody is out there making plays on defense and offense, there is a lot of homegrown kids that are out there making plays and making this team better. Hopefully everybody sees that. Secondly, I don't understand why Harbaugh can't pitch. That's part of the problem, is it becomes so predictable. And that's what's lining him up for a lot of shots, is he mentally is having trouble making that pitch. And I don't know if people understand how important, as you were talking earlier, this quarterback situation that they're going into next year, how important it is that they make a good decision. Because here locally, our 2025 class, let's skip 24, right? I mean, we all, got Caitlin there, right? And everybody loves, or at least most people around here love the idea of Rezak. But let's go beyond those guys and look at the 25 class. There is a lot of development that still needs to happen if they want to pull some kids. I really like Madden Riggs. I like Noah Shoemaker. I like Colby Volkmer. I like these kids, but maybe Jeter Worthy. He's a two-sport athlete, somebody that can develop. He played well at quarterback last year. There is a lot of development that needs to happen in that 25 class, where I don't know if they're going to be able to pluck somebody that's can make a big difference, at least over the in a more immediate impact. Maybe the 26 class, with Jet Tamala and some of those individuals that that's a pretty decent class for quarterbacks. Some of your top prospects in the state might be quarterbacks, at least two or three of them. So I don't know what you guys think of some of that, but I think the impact of the homegrown kids cannot say enough, at least for this year's team. And I think going forward, it needs to be the blueprint. You lay the foundation with these kids, and then you bring in some stars, and you let these kids teach them what it means to play in this state and what it means to play with that in on your helmet.
David, thanks for the phone call.
Well, I think the in-state contributions, especially just on Saturday alone, were pretty evident. I mean, Jalen Lloyd gets his first touchdown reception. You get the Tristan Alvano field goal. Looks like he is really flying high confident-wise. Defensively, you look at Isaac Gifford, John Bullock, Phelan Sanford, your top three tacklers. You don't have to go very far down to where you get to Nick Henrich, where you get to Luke Reimer. So I don't think there's any question that in-state talent is there. As far as the quarterback position in Heinrich Harburg, and again, going back to what that means as far as going forward, look, this is a conversation that I think we all realize, and it goes back to just this offense in general, that you're just trying to get by as much as you can right now with this offense. This offense has flaws. The quarterbacks that are going to be involved, whether we're talking about Heinrich Harburg, as long as he's healthy, if he's not, Jeff Sims, and even Chubba Purdy, there's going to be flaws there too. Like I give the offensive line a lot of credit. I thought you didn't notice this major drop off. In fact, in some areas, I'm sure I wasn't alone in watching the left side of that offensive line where with the guys that they had to account for, I thought that they did.
Yeah, they were
fine.
I think there were a lot of times they had no chance. Now,
yeah,
they were pretty good in pass pro, running the football. It was just too congested.
Yeah.
They couldn't play a numbers game.
Yeah, it was not something that you just watched and said, "Oh yeah, that's noticeable." And so I was more than fine with what you saw from the offensive line. But again, this whole idea of this offense and what it looks like in the future, it can't be this way. And then this kind of goes back to, and whether we're talking about an in-state guy or we're talking about the transfer portal, when it comes to quarterback and identifying, this is going to be the one, I would say, issue, or at least the one area that we can say, okay, maybe the coaching staff early in their tenure in Nebraska used poor judgment when identifying Jeff Sims out of the transfer portal.
Yeah, they made a mistake. They
so,
get a mulligan.
Yep.
They get a mistake. You cannot have that happen again because it slows your growth with this offense. Injuries aside, it has slowed the growth of what you want this offense to be.
And it's going to be an interesting part of that conversation of whoever they decide to identify and how they do get them in here, whether it's someone that has college football starting quarterback experience or not, even if it's at the FCS level or if it's, somebody else. How much will, not that they even care, the coaches I'm saying, but how much will the fan base trust whatever decision they decide to make when it does come to the quarterback, and how they're going to go ahead and address that for the future? Because by all indications, Danny Kaelin is not coming in as a true freshman, but also by all indications, if you just watch, Heinrich Harburg is just, if this offense is to evolve, if this offense is to look different than what it does right now, Heinrich Harburg, there's a reason he's starting. He's the perfect guy for what they can do right now. But what they want to do in the future, that's not in the plans.
Yeah,
I'm convinced of that.
If they don't bring in a veteran quarterback next year, Harburg is still in the mix. They could play two quarterbacks next year, and Harburg would be one of them if they don't bring in a veteran quarterback that outright wins the job next year. That's my opinion. All right, Jacob Bigelow a little bit later, Amy Just as well, in Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone. Hey, you can shop Woodhouse Buick GMC first and experience the difference. They got the large indoor showroom at 119th and I. Simply have something for everyone. New and pre-owned inventory, they'll take care of you. You want a stylish SUV because the family is growing? Check. You want a truck to get the job done? Check. Yes, they have something for everyone, and they've made the car buying process streamlined. Online as well. Same thing you can do in person, you can do online. And right now, check out the 23 Buick Envision Preferred all-wheel drive vehicle that I'm currently driving. Amazon Alexa built-in, driver concept cockpit. They've got HD rear vision camera. I was hoping to watch football games driving back from Lincoln on my camera. Couldn't figure it out. That and the 23 GMC Yukon is on the showroom right now. Plus, listen up. That Buick Envision Preferred, you can save $2,250 off MSRP right now. Off of that. Offer expires tomorrow. Don't hesitate. Go there right now. I mean right now. 119th and I. That's Woodhouse Buick GMC. Or online at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Caller 4 right now, 402-951-1620. Qualifies for 1620 The Zone's four-quarter pick'em. It's your chance to pick 4 football games correctly against the spread to win $1,620. Call 402-951-1620. Call now to qualify with 1620 The Zone. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Yes, by theory, it's a lesser version of the NFL because it's the same sport, not played by as good of athletes. But it's got its own vibe, as Nick would call it, its own feel, its own pulse, its own pace. And those are the things I think get lost if we just pare it down to helmet games.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Bright and chilly for your Monday with the high today in Omaha of 44, but feeling like the upper 30s this afternoon. Expect westerly winds up to 15 miles an hour today. Staying mostly clear with a few partly cloudy conditions as we head overnight tonight. Becoming windy, cold, an overnight low of 24, but feeling like 10. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We're still getting reports of that accident on the left shoulder westbound along I-80 at 72nd Street. That's still backed up all the way to 60th, and you can expect delays over to 5 minutes in that area. And we're also still getting reports of that accident along 96th at Giles Road, so please be cautious if you're in that area as well. And on Industrial Road, be prepared for things to slow down quite a bit from 149th to 144th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott.
Hi, this is Kathy Knoyer. 'Tis the season at Glass House Market within Knoyer Garden Center. We'd like to invite you to come shop our stunning holiday market, where you'll find a perfect gift for that special someone or the Christmas decor you've been wanting. Join our family for this year's open house, November 4th and 5th, to help us celebrate the holiday season. Glass House Market, located within Knoyer Garden Center on 66th Street between Cornhusker and Highway 370 in Papillion. Open daily 10 to 6.
At Knoyer Garden Center, everybody's got a green thumb.
Get a full breakdown of what went right and what went wrong immediately after every Nebraska game with Big Red Overreaction. Presented by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. And by Coors Light, keeping Nebraska chill. Also brought to you by Chase Senate Contracting, Tinman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair, and Rotella's Italian Bakery. Immediately after the game, join the show and sound off with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Big Red Overreaction with the Keg and 1620 The Zone.
With your choice of select sandwich, nugs, fries, and a drink, Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag is your go-to. Your nugget wingman. Your hot and crispy fried co-pilot.
Just like us. We're like the bag boys.
What?
Bag boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when we bring your food?
For a deal you can count on, bet on Biggie and choose wisely. Choose Wendy's.
Bag boys.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Includes choice of JVC or crispy chicken sandwich with 4-piece nugs, junior fry, and small soft drink. Third-party delivery pricing may be higher.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
Good boy. At Cox, we think all customers deserve a reliable connection. So whether you're a loyal customer who's been with us for years, or you're new to the family like this little guy, you'll get the same great deals on the same great internet. And no matter who you are. See how you can save at cox.com/deals for all. Other restrictions apply, all rates reserved.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands. at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Now back to Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, 1 week from today, college basketball begins. Omaha takes on Doane. Nebraska plays Lindenwood, and then the following day, Creighton takes on Florida A&M. 1 week from today, college basketball begins. You also know what today is.
Sports Equinox.
It is the Sports Equinox today. Everybody is playing. Embrace it.
It only happens once a year.
Yeah, that day after the All-Star game in the summer, this is the opposite. So enjoy this day.
When nothing exists.
Think about that and whatever, multiple TVs, whatever you want to watch tonight. Enjoy it.
All right, Bizarro World, we have talked about bowl destinations today. 24/7 has Nebraska going to Nashville.
Woo!
Take on Florida.
They would take that over.
Action Network just has done their bowl predictions. Isn't that Brett McMurphy?
Yeah, that is Brett McMurphy, yeah.
He has the Guaranteed Rate Bowl the day after Christmas in Phoenix, Nebraska, and Iowa State.
Oh. A week ago, that might have been K-State.
There'd be a lot of Busch Light consumed in Phoenix, Arizona on Christmas.
They don't even know.
That'd be actually kind of interesting. Fun. Nebraska and Iowa State playing in Phoenix.
Old friends.
Okay.
You realize how many people would just, I'm sure many of us know snowbirds that go to Arizona usually right around January. You would just start that a little bit early.
Oh, that'd be a hot ticket.
Yeah.
It'd be a packed. I mean, I think whatever destination Nebraska is going to, maybe outside of Detroit, but I don't want to poo-poo Detroit because you could drive.
Mm-hmm.
New York City is a little expensive. I know Nebraska would be very interested in Vegas. Like the football program, very interested in Vegas because it's not over Christmas. You can go before Christmas. You play the game, and you really don't interrupt your season. You maybe take a week off or so, and you kick practice back up again. You go and play the game, and guys can go home for Christmas. The preferred destination at Nebraska is going to the Vegas Bowl.
Yeah.
But if Nebraska gets higher than 6, I mean, your destination may be a little bit warmer. We might be thinking about going to Florida. Oof. And the Citrus Bowl has been mentioned as well. So we've talked about bowl destinations today, and also the path to win the Big Ten.
Yeah. We still have goals. We're going to make 2 bowl trips.
Happy Sports Equinox Day.
What is going on? This is a strange place that we've been in. We haven't been in this place in a while. 1 win, Nebraska becomes bowl eligible for the first time since 2016.
Is it just, I know you mentioned this earlier, like people don't know how to feel, but that's the thing. There's so many different emotions of, God, why are we getting this excited over possible bowl eligibility? But I mean, there's since 2016.
Think about a year ago.
You can go back and forth on every little like emotion that you feel about this. It's like, oh gosh, I really love this defense, but that's this season.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know if everybody has fully like gone all in and embraced it. Now you got defensive heads out there that just absolutely love this, and that's fun. But
winning is fun.
Yes, and thank you, Jimmy, because it comes back down to, and I said this earlier, like the no winning. There's no such thing as a ugly win, because a win right now is a win. But when you also take inventory of the Big Ten West and you look at how other teams in that division are winning too, it is such a very odd feeling here going into the last month of the season, knowing that there are legitimate pathways, like legitimate things that could play out for more than just 4 teams that could see them in playing for a conference championship, and that Nebraska, by God, is in it. And it's not like this crazy math that is involved right now too.
Champagne in the Handley House Saturday. You heard it here
Mm-hmm.
first.
Here is Dan. Good morning, Dan.
Hello, guys. How about some numbers this morning?
Okay.
So I decided to go back through the past 7 years, up to 2016, and see through the first 8 games what Nebraska's points per game was and points allowed given up was. Through the years, Nebraska has scored over 25 points per game through 8 games. They have also allowed almost 30 every single year. There are only 2 instances where Nebraska scores 30 points per game and gives up less than 17 points per game. And that was 2023 this year and 2021 during the Scott Frost era.
Okay.
I don't know if that means anything.
Well, that 2021 team I wanted more out of. But I was aware of that stat. But it's a pretty impressive stat. I mean, it so Dan, are you I'll ask you. So what do you think the meaning is behind that? Because one team fell apart at the end of the year. Another team is 5-3 with a chance to continue their season in December. What is the meaning behind those two numbers that a lot of the guys that were here in 21 are here in 23?
Right. I think that it means that our offense sucks a lot more this year than it does last year, because this year we're only getting 20.2 points per game. And I feel like it should be higher, because throughout the years we scored at the very minimum 25 points per game. So it feels like the offense historically should be better, in my opinion. But that's just me. New era.
So you are more of an offensive guy.
Yes and no. Yes and no.
Okay.
That sounds confusing, but I love my defense. I love defense. The fact that we're only giving up 18.8 points per game this season is unbelievable. I love it, but the offense needs to score more points.
Now, Dan, let me follow up with this though. Would you factor in? Do you think it's okay to factor in, given the wide receiving situation going into the season, but also the amount of injuries that side of the football has taken on, that it's still the fact that Nebraska is getting to the finish line at least commendable?
Yeah, it's commendable. I mean, it's certainly notwithstanding that we have injuries, and the fact that we're still winning games, scoring 30 points against Purdue is awesome. But at the same time, it feels like we could be so much better. Quit the turnovers.
Hold on. Yeah, with this offense, you think Nebraska can be better?
Yeah.
I think they're hitting their head on the ceiling. You could have, in that game, realistically, you could have, without the turnovers, scored 45, 50 points. That's a Purdue thing. But Nebraska isn't rolling out of bed and scoring 5 touchdowns a game with this offense. That's not happening.
Well, maybe, but it feels like at the same time, I mean, even without the injuries, I still feel like we have fast wide receivers that can get downfield. I feel like if we stop running the ball so much with the quarterback, that we don't turn over the ball as much. I don't know, man. I think that if we just keep throwing the ball, that this offense would be more successful, because more of our touchdowns and such have come on passing than they have on run games.
Okay. But you're happy to be 5-3?
Yes, I'm happy to be 5-3.
Okay.
Who isn't happy to be 5-3?
Yeah. There you go. I think Dan, you're going to have to pause on your elevation of the offense until next year.
Maybe.
So, I mean, they may surprise us, but there has been nothing over the course of about 5 weeks that I've said, man, that offense is just waiting to explode. They do enough to not hurt you, and they are relying on a defense more than any offense has ever relied on, including, in my opinion, the 09 offense.
Yeah.
All right. Dan, thanks for the call. All right. Appreciate the conversation. Here is Tony. Good morning, Tony.
Gentlemen, I like what you said about giving the staff a mulligan on the quarterback. But I saw a game this weekend, and I saw a quarterback at Tennessee. I believe his name is Joe Milton.
Mm-hmm.
A very similar body type, I think, to Sims. And I think they saw the potential of what if we had Milton. I mean, this kid laid his shoulder down on an Alabama defender, first play of the game, set a tone. even the commentator said, "Oh, the Alabama defender just took the wrong end on that one." Set the tone, and he's the dual threat type of quarterback I think they thought Sims could be. If Sims could have been a Milton, you're looking at Nebraska maybe at only one loss. Because I think if you took that Milton kid from Tennessee and plugged him into Nebraska's offense right now, this could be a one-loss team right now. I don't know if you guys know the quarterback I'm assuming you do.
Yes.
Yep, Joe Milton.
Yeah.
Yep, from Michigan and then Tennessee.
Who struggled at Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
But in our situation, say he's a 3-star, 2-star, whatever, he'd have been I think that's what they thought Sims could be.
Yeah,
my opinion.
Okay, Tony, thanks for the phone call. Here's the thing. I think they saw a little bit of what Tony's saying is they saw the dual threat aspect of Jeff Sims, that he could make throws into a tight window. And when they brought Jeff Sims here, what they thought the offense would look different, and the personnel that would be on that side of the ball would be different.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that personnel has either gotten injured or has left the program. And the one thing that you cannot take out of your DNA is the turnovers.
Yeah.
And I think Rule and Satterfield went through spring, went through summer, and then into fall camp, and they thought he has finally gotten rid of it. And then once the game started and the moments heated up, Jeff Sims is Jeff Sims.
Yeah.
So that's why I say I'll give you a mulligan, because you're going to have to dip your toe in the portal. I know majority of college football is portal quarterbacks. I'd love to have just a run of high school quarterbacks, but I'll give you a mulligan, but you got to get it right this year. You got to get it right for 24, because you have some things in place on one side of the ball that I don't think are going to go away. And you can't go through another year where you stunt the growth of individuals on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and there's, I think, different ways to look at quarterbacks that were turnover prone. But if you just kind of look at this through the eyes of Matt Rule and Marcus Satterfield, and again, not getting this directly from them, but you've got a guy who has played a lot of college football. You've got an offense that in the first year, you feel like, hey, we need to find some type of bridge work until we're able to develop a younger guy. So let's bring in a guy that has experience. Okay, this guy does have that. He's got dual threat ability. Even if at some point we want to get a little bit away from the quarterback run game as much, this guy, he's built to where he can endure that. He can throw enough to where we can have some balance with our offense. And as you pointed out too, you expected to have a Xavier Betts there. You expected maybe even to have an Alante Brown there. You expected to have some things as a part of this offense that we're going to also be able to maybe elevate that while you continue to develop a quarterback. Then you can also even look at it as, from a coaching standpoint, okay, the turnovers were massive his freshman year, then they started to go down a little bit. There's just one of those things that we see this with more than quarterbacks than we do with, receivers or running backs. And that is, things can look great in the preparation to the season. Things can look great in, if we're talking NFL OTAs and training camp or in college football fall camp, when you know that at the very last moment, that guy can't hit you. Even in the periods that you might be going live, that they're going to be very quick to blow that whistle. And so then you get into games, and all of a sudden, that's not the situation. They're trying to not only get you down, but they're also trying to strip the ball away from you. Defenses are throwing you different looks. And how does your mind pick up when the game starts to move at that level, the game speed? And there are just certain players out there, Jeff Sims isn't alone, that when that game speed picks up a lot quicker than what it does, what you see in preparation for the season, that you can't keep up with it. You can't catch up with it. And that's where the mistakes happen. And then at some point, they start to happen more and more and more. Then you get the mental aspect of it as well. It's just been the perfect storm for Jeff Sims. But the bottom line is you have to look at that situation and that quarterback or that individual who's also having turnover issues and say, are they a liability? If they are a liability, you can't have them on the field, especially with what you're trying to do with an already limited offense. So I think that's what they saw out of him. I think that he was looked as a guy that could be able to kind of handle this offense, and maybe even when things broke down, could make up for that. As we talk about, good quarterbacks being able to sort of maybe mask some issues, especially when things break down with his athleticism. Unfortunately, the ball security is still a major issue. So yeah, that one didn't work out.
Yeah, they made a mistake. Okay. It didn't work out. And here's a sign of a good coach, whether it be somebody that's on your staff or somebody that's on your roster, is then you have to make the decision to move on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you've maxed them out and they cannot be an asset to you, then help them find another place. And they'll do that with Jeff Sims.
Absolutely.
But there's no way Jeff Sims is going to play serious football at Nebraska anymore. I think he needs to go to a place where he's less out of the spotlight.
Yep.
People don't know who Jeff Sims is. Okay. I kind of sarcastically said Georgia State might be an ideal place for him, but it's not going to be here.
Right.
And it can't be in 2024. We could take a break. We're a little behind here. Jacob Bigelow, Amy Just coming up in the last hour of Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 16.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. Remember, no matter how you listen, it's still AM radio. 1620 The Zone.
Fear has a name. For 30 years, Scary Acres has been doing what they do best. Scaring the out of you. The Master's Castle, House on the Hill, and the Haunted Woods. Scary Acres, the ultimate haunted attractions. 172nd and Giles. Sponsored in part by Raising Cane, Stereo West, and Ivy.
Kevin Harlan here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One. Join me and Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner this week when the 5-2 Lions take on the 3-4 Raiders. Las Vegas hopes the expected return of Jimmy Garoppolo can get them back in the win column. Jared Goff and the first-place Detroit Lions are looking to bounce back. Don't miss any of the action on Monday Night Football.
Right here on 1620, The Zone.
Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use, there's a wide range of betting options, spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/win and kick off the NFL season. That's FanDuel.com/win. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
Must be 21 plus in President State where lawful to wager. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino LLC. First online real money wager only $5 pregame money line wager required. First online real money wager only $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG in Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Virginia. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342 in Arizona, 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana, 1-800-522-4700. Visit KSGamblingHelp.com in Kansas. 1-877-770-STOP in Louisiana. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net in West Virginia or call 1-800-522-4700 in Wyoming. Help is here. Visit gamblinghelpma.org or call 1-800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We're still getting reports of that accident on the left shoulder westbound along I-80 at 72nd Street. It's still backed up all the way to 60th, and you can expect delays over to 5 minutes in that area. And we're also still getting reports of that accident along 96th at Giles Road, so please be cautious if you're in that area as well. And on Industrial Road, be prepared for things to slow down quite a bit from 149th to 144th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
Sometimes life throws you a curveball and you need a solution fast. A solution to help you make payroll, to save your house, to keep growing, or fund a startup, to fix a roof or other major repair. Saul's is your fast, local, confidential solution. Get the cash you need today with Saul's.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees, The Source, by your mom's house.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Kugler Vision. Football season has arrived. You'll be going to games and maybe you have seats high up. Well, go to Kugler Vision and make sure that you can see all of the action on the football field. Low monthly payment plans are available, and Kugler Vision gladly accepts your flex plans and medical spending accounts too. Give them a call at 402-558-2211 or schedule online at KuglerVision.com.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
It's Halloween at Genesis Health Clubs. Join with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 31% per month every month. This offer ends in just one day. Genesis Health Clubs has top-of-the-line equipment and the absolute best personal trainers, tennis professionals, and group fitness instructors to help keep you motivated and headed toward your fitness goals. Plus, relax in luxury afterwards with saunas, steam rooms, and fluffy towel service. Whatever your fitness needs, Genesis is here to help every step of the way, and there's nothing scary about that. This Halloween, join Genesis Health Clubs with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 31% per month every single month. Just one day left. But hurry, this offer will end before you have a chance to count your Halloween candy. It ends on Halloween and won't extend. Come to Genesis and get in the best shape of your life so you can handle anything those zombies, werewolves, and vampires throw at you. Plus, get your New Year's resolutions checked off with time to spare. Join Genesis Health Clubs with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 31% per month every single month. This offer will not extend.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620, The Zone.
All right, the worst Power 5 scoring offenses through week 9 of the top 10, 8 are from the Big Ten, including the worst, who Nebraska will face on Saturday in East Lansing, Michigan State. At 18 points per game, Nebraska is the 5th worst Power 5 scoring offense at 20.3. Iowa is 3rd, Illinois 6, Minnesota 7, Northwestern 9, Purdue 10.
And Sam Leavitt, come on down. New quarterback for Michigan State.
Yep, came in, played well.
Yep.
Their offense is dreadful. Their defense just needs a little help.
Mm-hmm.
They're not on quit watch. But Nebraska defensively against bad offenses have swallowed them up. Against good offenses and elite quarterbacks,
yes,
you see the result.
Yes.
We'll get to Jacob Bigelow here in just a moment. First here is Tim. Tim, thanks for holding. Welcome to the show. Oh, Tim. Tim hung up. Tim, call back. I know what Tim wanted to talk about. That would have been a good conversation.
Hi, Tim. And again, if anybody watched that Maryland Northwestern game, because I know we're seeing that right now, it's hard not to kind of look ahead to that one as well, because I think a month ago there were people that would look at that game and say, I don't know if I like that one. I mean, Maryland they were holding their own against other teams. I got into that game just because I was watching the Kansas-Oklahoma game that went to delay. So I'm like, okay, I'm just kind of curious what this is looking like. And I saw the score, and Northwestern was off to an early lead. Other than the very noticeable absence of anybody attending that football game, which it did look like a spring game crowd. Boy, it was Maryland. That is a team that, again, how they sort of finish off the season is going to be interesting, because that offense right now and the things that again, you always put your team in there, the team that you're rooting for, the team that you cover, and say, okay, how does our team fare against that type of style? Maryland, with a lot of the, under 10-yard passes and trying to just kind of dink and dunk down the field. Tully will take some shots, but really didn't in this Northwestern game at all. And when he did, he got himself into some trouble. That's another, as you kind of talked about the Michigan State offense too. This is another one where I kind of look at it almost like how I felt about the Purdue game, where I feel like this could be a very fun afternoon, especially at home.
Nebraska's offense could look like world beaters the next 2 weeks. Michigan State's just gone through, giving up 400 and 477 yards. Michigan, Minnesota back-to-back. And, yeah, I'm not – the offense, I wasn't worried about Maryland. Is that defense. Mm-hmm. That defense allowed the 126th defense the offense in the country, that's what Northwestern was, to roll up 364 yards. Mm-hmm. That's why when I say degree of difficulty for the last 4 games for Nebraska, I go Wisconsin, Iowa, Michigan State, Maryland. A little bit of the Michigan State one, it's on the road.
Yeah.
Okay. And early game, you're going to have to create your own energy.
Mm-hmm.
Fumbles on the road seem to be more magnified than they do at home. That's why I have Michigan State ahead of Maryland. Maryland's defense is the thing that's, I think, is starting to go south. But Maryland is a really good September team.
Yep. Thought maybe that would spill into October, and hasn't quite done that. It's just, again, it's a team. And again, defensively is where people thought, hey, we were talking about Maryland's offense, but their defense is playing better. They were putting up some decent numbers. But, yeah, watching the Northwestern team and how challenged they were a week ago. Maybe this is just more of a testament to how good Nebraska's defense is. But watching Sullivan be able to just kind of move all over the field, and even when things were breaking down like they had no answer to him, that was eye-opening.
Bad quarterbacks with that defense have trouble against Nebraska. I mentioned there'll be a freshman that's playing this weekend.
Yep.
The other part of the Michigan State thing, why I have them ahead of Maryland in my degree of difficulty, is I watched all of that Minnesota-Michigan State game. Again, if they were not so dreadful on offense, Michigan State probably would have been in that game a little bit longer, and it was close at halftime.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what Fleck was doing at the end of halftime, that not calling a timeout. But what happened to the first two plays of that game?
I don't know.
Minnesota-Michigan State.
I because I was going back and forth, so I missed the first part of that game. I just saw
they
them
forced two fumbles.
Yeah.
What do we? Nebraska leads all of organized football from Pop Warner to high school to college and the NFL in fumbles. Let's do this real quick.
Do we know that to be a fact?
Tim has come back to us. Tim, thanks for the phone call. Welcome back.
Hey, guys. Hey, great call on Friday, Gary. What a great game of
thank you.
North and Gretna.
Yes.
Hey, why is it so hard to hold on to a football? I know they practice it in practice, but I mean, do they game tackle and try to rip it in practice? I mean, I don't understand, because they're going to start ripping the ball more and more. They get more on film.
Yep. Tim, I don't know. This has been going on in this program for a while, but what is an unsettling thing that you're seeing more is something you just alluded to, is when guys are getting held up. It's the old Adrian Martinez from 2021 against Michigan. They get held up in a pile, and guys start reaching for the ball and start trying to grab the ball away. I mean, if I'm scouting Harburg and you have him tied up and he's not going down, isn't that what you're going to do from here on out, Tim, is start reaching for the ball and trying to rip it away?
Oh, absolutely. And the colder it's going to get, the more easier, it's going to pop out too,
Yeah, there's a litany of reasons, and the previous staff looked at it, rules looked at it. It's crazy to think of their negative turnover differential, the amount of fumbles that they're still 5-3. But I'm telling you, there's going to be one of these four that they're not going to be able to overcome it. Yeah. And we have every right in the world to be angry to get this fixed, because they have to get it fixed, because it's ridiculous right now.
Absolutely. Have a good day, guys.
Tim, thanks for the phone call. It's ridiculous. Isn't it, Jacob Bigelow? Fumbling? You can't go through life fumbling.
No, you can't. No, that was definitely what was getting the most a rise out of my. I was watching with my parents on Saturday, and it's just, why do they keep fumbling the damn ball? Like, that was just the.
But isn't this the most 2000?
Did they say it in that voice too?
Kind of. I mean, my dad's found a way to remain calm. He can show some angst with his voice, but he remains calm for the most part.
Isn't this the most 2023 Nebraska way to win games, though, where you got the game in cruise control and all of a sudden you get another just huge bevy of fumbles again? You get your first wave, then you get your second wave, so you got to finish the game on a sour note too. And you win the game and you're happy. You're one game away from bowl eligibility, but then all of a sudden it's easy to point the fingers at the fumbles and like what Gary's saying, and I think everybody's in that same mindset of, okay, at what point will this actually be the difference between Nebraska winning and losing a game? So it's just, again, it goes back to that sort of mixed reaction of, yep, happy, win's a win, going to take it, not apologize, but my God, can they figure out the fumble issue? It's just, it's an epidemic.
It definitely is. I think it's kind of the perfect summation of this season so far, is that in that Michigan game, we were all looking up the stats for the last time Nebraska got shut out. And then they pull the Fleeks run out of nowhere to avoid the shutout. Mm-hmm. Then on Saturday, we were all pulling up stats of when the last time Nebraska shut out an opponent was. When was the last shutout at home? When was the last conference shutout? And then all of a sudden, fumbles happened, and Purdue got points that they probably shouldn't have had, with how atrocious they looked offensively. The majority of that game.
I was all ready to talk about the 2009 Holiday Bowl. But
Nebraska's back and they're here to stay.
And then there was a fumble, and then there was a score, and then there was no more shutout. Quick thing here on the fumbles, because I'll bring it also into your basketball world. So when a guy isn't making shots, do you keep shooting? Do you talk about it? Do you not talk about it, but you say, hey, keep shooting, or do you shut it down? Do you think there's a scenario that's attributed to fumbles as well? Like, maybe we should just stop talking about it and they'll go away. Because there was, I want to take it back to the middle of August. There was a long discussion about a guy fumbling the football that had not been brought up before, even though it was kind of an issue in 22. It just was not public or talked about as much in Anthony Grant. It's talked about in August. It's now end of October. It's not just Anthony Grant. It's the team that still has a fumbling issue that's been around for 5-6 years. Do we stop talking about it and it goes away?
No.
Okay.
I think you got to talk about it, but I think like mostly what I've seen, what I saw when I was up close with basketball was a lot of like missing shots. It's mental. It's mental stuff that can get at you, and you can talk about it a little bit, but for the most part, you just got to keep, they as cliche it is, they say shoot or shoot for a reason, because you keep shooting. I mean, what was the Dion Waiters quote when he was on the Heat? Like, I'd rather go 1 for 30 than 0 for. I think it's like I'd rather go 1 for 30 than 0 for 8, because if I stop at 8, that means I stop shooting. But with running backs, I think mental will definitely play a part, and I think you gotta I think Nebraska's got plenty of resources, sports psychologists, all sorts of things that they could use to attack the situation. But I mean, it's gotta get addressed one way or another.
Yeah, and I mean, the whole idea of, I know the question's always asked, like, what do you do each week in practice to address it? And they're like, well, nothing. We just continue to do the same things we're doing, which I can respect that. And I think that's probably the way to go. All of a sudden, you completely change things you're doing, and then it becomes more focused on that and not enough about what you have coming up. I understand that. But when it's not just like the same person every time, then all of a sudden we see, all of a sudden Garrett Snodgrass all of a sudden has one. You see different guys that all of a sudden are kind of, that's why I kind of go back to that epidemic where, and you said mental. I'm curious what the mindset is as a ball carrier when maybe you've had some issues securing the football, of what leads to that. Is it just you're being overprotective with the football, then all of a sudden it makes you like a step slower and then leaves you more exposed? Or, I don't know. It's just, it's such a, it's just such a tough thing to kind of figure out right now at the rate it's at.
Yeah, no, I completely and totally agree. I mean, it could be being overprotective, could be overthinking, like, looking for the hole, the way to go, or it could be a lot of things. I'm sure all the different running backs Nebraska's got on the roster, I'm sure they process things differently. I mean, I know people were probably laughing at me on the phone thinking it's just holding on to the ball. How hard can it be? But I mean, there's a lot going on at once on a football field, and you could maybe overthink or overprocess. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it.
So I could run off a bunch of numbers here, good and bad, defensive and offensive numbers, turnover numbers. And if you didn't know what the record was, you would go, it's probably a 500 team. I mean, they're 2 games above 500. So they essentially could be 4-4. Instead, they're 5-3. You can't say defense. If I say, with all of this information at your fingertips, especially on offense, why is Nebraska 5-3? You can't say defense. So your next thing would be they're 5-3 with everything that has ailed them because of.
Correct. That's a good question. I completely and totally agree with you guys saying that the offense is kind of hitting their head on the ceiling right now. I think it may be like, I was on the show at the start of the year saying they're going to have to scheme for the personnel that they have, and they've done that successfully with, whether it's, running belly option pass, or, getting some of these freshman guys, the freshman receivers involved, when they're showing some flashes. Back-to-back weeks we saw Coleman last week, and then Jalen Lloyd on Saturday on the option pass, getting to show off the speed they have and running a deep route and scoring a touchdown. They've made the most of what they have. I guess that would be my workaround way of saying it. They've played the cards that they've been dealt, and they've played them successfully on the offensive side of the ball. And it may come back to bite them, in those last 2 games of the season. But I think right now you just gotta roll with what you got, and they've done that well so far.
And just to kind of put all of that, in the finality of the conversation about football right now as we head into November, with what they still have in front of them, with all their goals right there as far as a conference title within reach, if they can continue to win football games, isn't this fun though? I mean, isn't this like, despite all of that, despite all the muck that the offense kind of brings us in some of the shaky special teams play, isn't this still really fun?
It's been in a sick, twisted Big Ten West way. Yes, it's been fun. To be 5-3 at the point they're at with looking like there's people are booking hotel rooms in Phoenix and Vegas, just in case some things come to be. I really like really like the next 2 games on the schedule, and then the last 2 are a different animal, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But right now it's fun. I know I've been kind of dabbling, debating in my head, like is it fun? But I mean, I think right now at 9:20 on Monday, I'd say it is. It's been it's shown us a lot about Matt Rule and his coaching staff, and it's given the fan base some things to look forward to in the years to come.
All right, so I want to go back to all the numbers that. Oh, the good numbers, the bad numbers, the numbers that make your head scratch, and you go, how is Nebraska on the cusp of bowl eligibility and still sitting here where they have a chance to win the West? Why do you think? And I'm not overthinking this year. I mean, there's parts of this year that I think we are portable to 24, but this has unfolded perfectly for Nebraska for the 23 season. We know it's not going to be that way in 24. You're going to have to be better in 24. But in 23, you just stay in the moment. You're 5-3. The schedule has set up really well for you because teams have either come back to the pack or you've made movement towards them. But why do you think this team, where they're at right now, does a better job of beating teams that look like old Nebraska?
I mean, I think it just comes back to coaching matters, man. I think coaching matters, and I think that just from like how it appears these guys carry themselves, what we've seen in these the weekly rewinds with seeing how Rule goes about his business. I mean, I think that they've had a belief instilled with them that they can they should win these games. Like, it's not we can win or we got to do this to win. It's you should win. Like, just play your game, play the way we play. And, I think that's pretty loud and clear. And, they're still, I think, part of it is, the trash fire that is the division they're in. It's been pretty beneficial to them, but I mean, that also, in my opinion, comes back to, coaching matters. I mean, we saw what a bad example of a year one under a new head coach can look like firsthand on Saturday. We saw that with Ryan Walters, and he's a defensive first guy, and their defense wasn't much to throw a stick at, and I don't even want to talk about what they look like on offense. And we saw a perfect contrast of what making the most of a year one can look like and what the opposite end of the spectrum is on Saturday in Lincoln.
Did want to get some basketball thoughts from you with the exhibition game yesterday. Obviously, a lot of concern about Keisei Tominaga in the first half, kind of running up against a player there. The ankle, it looked nasty. He comes out. What is your overall level of concern with what you saw there?
I think the biggest thing that lessens my concern is we didn't see him in a boot. We didn't see him on crutches. He was walking with a noticeable limp. Coming out of the tunnel to sit on the bench in the second half, and the way he was moving around during the timeout. But you hope it's just a sprained ankle, or maybe a high sprain. Fred said they'd know more today. He said it did swell up pretty good, but Keisei has no history of ankle problems, so that's a good start. And then not seeing him in the boot or crutches, that's encouraging too. But with the way I think they're being extra cautious with everybody on the roster that's shown even any sign of injury, and I think they'll be that way with Casey regardless.
Hey, if Bandamill and Gary don't get hurt last year, are we even talking about Sam Hoiberg?
Probably not, because I mean that's Sam has been pretty open and honest that going into last year he didn't think he was going to play at all, and given the roster they had, and he was just working on his own game, and then Bandamill gets hurt, and at Penn State, and Fred has to come to him and say, "You're our eighth guy. You're in the rotation now because of what we got going on," and he's made the most of it, and even. I know it's an exhibition against an NAIA school, but he was doing everything right when he was out there yesterday, going for loose balls. He had a couple steals. He wasn't trying to do too much when he had the ball. I mean, he kind of was just doing everything right. But yeah, if those injuries don't happen last year, maybe we only see Sam get the end of game, clear the bench minutes.
Also, I know with the amount of players that were not available yesterday, was it at least amusing to you that you did have a 6'4" center in Cale Jacobson at one point playing 5?
Oh, it was interesting for sure. Yeah, there were a couple times where he checked in and we looked at the guys I was sitting close to up on press row. We looked at each other like, kill the 5 right now, and then they got down to the other end of the court and he's trying to body up their 6'9", big, and we're like, oh, he is. Yep, there we go. But Cale looks like he was born in a weight room, so he can, he'll go body, he'll try to body up on just about anybody. But it was entertaining. He held his own for the most part.
All right, final question. What do Millard North graduates have against people from the Dutch land? Jacob, I was getting ready for the football game on Friday, and I got, you texted me, but a text before that was like, it was, when's the last time you saw Nick DeLuca? I'm like, wow, it's been a while. Why? Well, he just accosted a Nebraska basketball player. I'm like, what? This is, we haven't had like this is a typical Nebraska ball story until that. What in the heck is going on? But maybe more importantly, man, now we know the reason why Mast was in a boot, but how long is this going to linger?
I think they're, like I said earlier, I think they're being extra cautious. Rink was on the, they had all the guys who didn't play yesterday, on the end of the bench wearing t-shirts and sweatpants, and Rink was not in a boot. He was, celebrating when his guys were making baskets, and he was walking what looked pretty normal to me, but I think they were, they're going to be extra cautious with him, and I think we're seeing that with him and Josiah Alec, in my opinion, not having those guys go yesterday. But yeah, it had been a while since we'd had such a oddball Nebraska basketball story like that. But I'm just glad it wasn't more severe, and I'm glad that by all accounts now Rink is okay, and I think we'll see him a week from tonight when Nebraska opens the season.
I'm trying to think, did Rink hit a big shot for Bradley? They ever play North Dakota State?
Yeah.
I mean,
did they ever date like the same girl or something?
I don't think so. Given that Rink hasn't been here too long,
yeah.
But I think I don't know what could have possibly led to that going on in downtown Lincoln. But what happened? Yeah, I'd never seen anything. And we've had it's kind of unfortunate. We've had the tragic end with the events with John Baylor's brother in downtown Lincoln, which it sounded someone just gets out of a car and they choose to a random act of violence, and we've seen it end tragically in Lincoln recently, and we're lucky that this was less serious.
All right, Jacob, we'll have a good week. We'll talk to you next Monday ahead of Lindenwood in Nebraska. The season is here.
I know, 7 days, opening day of college basketball. I wanted to hear any more about Rothstein's countdown tweets. I can't see them regardless, but I'm excited.
Well, one thing will continue is that Andy Katz pretends to know anything about basketball.
Yeah, I didn't. I had that game on mute up on press row yesterday, but when I saw he was doing play-by-play, I kind of felt bad for Robbie. I felt bad for Robbie having to do that yesterday. But no, we'll see. Yeah, talk to you guys next week. Have a good rest of the week,
Thanks.
and hoops is close.
Yep, that's Jacob Bigelow. He's got his report from last night's exhibition game against Stone up on Huskers Illustrated. Thoughts on that game?
The fact that you had Bryce Williams starting at 5, and again, just 6 scholarship players, everything from what I could see, probably wasn't the type of game that you're going to take a lot of grand conclusions other than Eli Rice having a good game. But when you're down to 6 scholarship players and you're starting what is probably going to be your 3 as your 5 and CJ Wilshire as your 4.
Yeah, I wouldn't read a ton into that.
Get some right. Yeah. Just get some minutes because you got a lot of guys that were not available in that one. That is more than anything. That also felt like just a scrimmage, get guys out there, roll the ball out and let them get some shots off.
That's why I said
that is not an ideal situation.
There's a buffer between one week to another, but Eli Rice and the mid-range game, I love me some mid-range game.
Mm-hmm.
Something to watch. He looked comfortable. He didn't look like a freshman. And he may, with a veteran rotation, Eli Rice may find his way into that rotation before conference play. That'd be a heck of a coup for Nebraska if they're able to accomplish that. All right, Amy Just from the Lincoln Journal-Star. She back from New Orleans after the wedding?
She's there.
Okay, all right.
She got married. All right,
well,
congratulations.
She was.
No, I think she was at a.
I believe it was one of her good friends.
Yeah.
Yes.
That would have been burying the lead.
Yeah, and I would have hollered at her if she was coming on here the Monday after she got married.
I'm like, come on now.
I'd be like,
take a day off.
That's hardcore.
No. She was smart though. She missed the Purdue game. That's a veteran move. She's coming up next.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Previously on The Crossover.
Let me mow it for you. Hire me.
Hire Nick. I don't know if I'll hire you, Nick.
I'm really good at mowing.
Wow. He's offering his services.
Okay, fine. How much do you want to
get him for cheap?
I'm bad at this. I don't want to lowball myself.
You're
but I also don't want to
canceled.
totally
You're
canceled.
canceled.
$50, Josh. Give me 50.
For how many times?
One time? Yes.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley. The Connor Happer Show on Sportsmanlike Conduct. 6A to 6P. 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Bright and chilly for your Monday with a high today in Omaha of 44, but feeling like the upper 30s this afternoon. Expect westerly winds up to 15 miles an hour today. Staying mostly clear with a few partly cloudy conditions as we head overnight tonight. Becoming windy, cold, an overnight low of 24, but feeling like 10. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
Our Cox mobile plans are like a band. The more people you add, the better it sounds. So, add more lines to save more. Pay as low as $30 per line when you add 4 or more gig unlimited lines. It's easy. I like the sound of that. Visit cox.com/mobile. 4 lines required for $30 per line. Price max of 5 lines. Prices exclude taxes, device activation, and other fees and charges, which are subject to change. Cox postpaid internet required.
Email any of our shows anytime into the Equitable Bank inbox. At Equitable, we take banking personally. For me, John at 1620thezone.com. The Equitable Bank inbox from 1620 The Zone.
It's obvious the unthinkable is happening. With all the recent media distractions, most folks never saw it coming. But a few did. Their guts told them something very wrong was going on. And now the headlines are proving them right. The people in charge keep telling you that everything's fine and to stop noticing. But you know better. Folks are investing in emergency food storage, and you should too. My Patriot Supply, the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, are the ones you can trust. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and secure their best-selling 3-month emergency food kits. Each contains tasty breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Get at least one for each family member. My Patriot Supply also sells biomass stoves, off-grid room heaters for when the power goes out, gravity-powered water filters, heirloom seeds, and survival gear that may come in handy soon. Go to mypatriotsupply.com today. It's time to prepare for what's coming. mypatriotsupply.com.
Crane Sports Update.
Hey, Blue Jay fans, it's volleyball and soccer season here at Creighton. So get your tickets and come out and support your Blue Jays. For tickets, go to Ticketmaster.com, gocreighton.com/tickets, or visit the office located at the Ryan Athletic Center. And that's your Creighton Sports Update.
1620 The Zone proudly supports Creighton Athletics.
Make the right call. John Higgins Weather Guard, the home of the roofery.
When it's time to replace or repair storm damage, make the right call. John Higgins Weather Guard, the local, trusted, and proven choice. No one has installed more Da Vinci roofs, and there's a reason why John Higgins Weather Guard is the nation's leader. Community member, community supporter. Make the right call.
John Higgins Weather Guard, the home of the roofery. Make the right call.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, our good friend Amy Just from the Lincoln Journal-Star missed her in the box on Saturday, but she had more important things to tend to. She is back with us. How was the wedding?
Yeah, it was great. It was a lot of fun. It was at a really old, fancy Catholic church, and then the reception was at an art museum.
Oh, hello.
Okay.
Yeah, and then probably historic in both of those venues, I would imagine, at some level. All right. Well, we're glad that you're back. We'll go through quickly here the 60 minutes of football you missed on Saturday.
Hey, I watched it while I got ready.
Did you?
I did.
Sorry about that.
Okay, so I don't have to go. There was a kickoff, and then it went to the up man, and he was running with the ball, and then he fumbled the ball, and then we had a review, and then Purdue got the ball, and then Nebraska's defense was really good and pushed them back a yard, and then the Nebraska offense got the ball back, and then Nebraska went down the field and scored.
Yes, I watched it all. I did not miss I was like getting ready, so like I missed some stuff, but I got the gist of what happened.
A month ago, 45-7 against a team that may win a national championship. A month later, one more win, and they're going to a bowl game, and they just wrapped up a month of October 3-0. What's the significance of the last month for this football team?
It's been wild. Obviously, it hasn't been very pretty football offensively, but this defense is so good that it like doesn't matter. It does matter, right? But at the end of the day, they're still winning, and they can't hold on to the ball offensively. It's wild.
If there's a characteristic of this team when it does come to the turnovers itself, of maybe what we would have seen in the last couple of years compared to now, what does that say about what you can imagine the coaching staff or just the overall culture? I mean, is that a product, I guess maybe is a better question, is that a product that they're still able to stay above water even with the turnover issues and win football games, that is maybe the most significant development of this team this year?
Yeah, I think they've really, and I don't know if they word it this way, they probably word it another way. I really think that they've just adopted the same mentality like a Ted Lasso, like be a goldfish. Like I really think that they're just like, yes, they're making mistakes. But when they do, they move on from it and they don't dwell on it, and they're not sitting on the sideline just super upset about it and let that affect their next series. I think they just move on. And I think that's doing a lot of good for them, because you don't want one turnover to turn into two. You don't want one loss to turn into two.
Yeah.
Just move on. I think they're doing a good job of that.
So I know you got a lot on your plate to cover this week and also a road trip ahead. So I don't know if you'll be able to slide over to there's a voodoo witch doctor that is at about 13th and P. He goes by the name of Dr. Bombay. We have to figure out this turnover fumbling issue, because it's not just 23, it's 22, it's 21. We could go back even further than that. There has to be the mental part. There has to be the technique part. There also has to be the WTF part, right? Because this is wild that this just continues to happen.
Yeah, I won't lie. I was like throwing things.
Oh.
I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I'm not even a Nebraska fan, but it is so frustrating. It's like We talk about it every week. Every week.
Mhm.
I'm sure we'll talk about it again today.
Oh, he'll bring it up.
Like, how does this keep happening? Like, I don't get it. Like, are they working on it as much as they say they are? And if they are, how does this keep happening if you're working on it this much?
If there is now, and we gave this earlier, the pathway to the Big Ten championship for the 4 teams that are tied, including Nebraska in the Big Ten West currently. Amy, where would your biggest pause with Nebraska be? Would it be what they still have in front of them schedule-wise, or is it kind of what we're just talking about right now with the mistakes of ball security and those elements with this team? Is it more Nebraska that would keep you from going there, or is it their opponents?
It's Nebraska. Absolutely. I think that before this past weekend, I thought the only guaranteed L that they would have the rest of the way would be Maryland. And now I don't even know that.
Mhm.
Like, how do you lose to Northwestern? Well, Nebraska knows that, I guess, from last year, but you don't. But how do you lose to this Northwestern team? Come on, guys. What are you doing? So yeah, I don't know if there's any guaranteed L's down the stretch, but they could lose any and all of these games, or they could win any and all of these games. It's just the Big Ten West is a dumpster fire, and then Maryland is supposed to be good, but if you lose to Northwestern, are you good? I don't know.
You have to go back to the ACC. Hey, prepare though. Prepare. Michigan State and Nebraska are tied for 3rd worst in the country in turnovers. Each have 19. I know I haven't looked at the weather in East Lansing. It's a noon kickoff there. It's going to have to be a bring your own energy type game. They might have to win a slogger again and rely on that defense. So that leads me to the question, because you'll be asked about this and you'll write about it. And we're about a month away from the end of the regular season. Who are your really good shot to be 1st, 2nd, or 3rd team all Big Ten candidates off the defense?
Oh man. Quentin Newsome for sure. Tommy Hill has played really, really well. I'm really impressed with what he's been able to do, especially since he's doing everything. Those two, Gifford, really, really good effort out of him. I mean, the list is really long. They've got a lot of phenomenal guys. You could take any one of the guys on the defensive front. I mean, they're all playing really well. Ty Robinson, this is incredible that any one of them could make it.
And I'm very curious, Amy. I know that the media's got their vote, and sometimes media, there are some that don't do their job and they just grab the stats. The coaches is the one that I'll be very curious to see what the coaches think of Nebraska's defense, the individual personnel. Because if I'm a coach, a guy like Gifford and Hutmacher stand out right away. Newsome's a given because my game plan is to avoid him at all costs. But if I'm a football coach, I watch film and I play against Nebraska and I go, man, number 2 and 0 are really good football players.
Yeah, it's crazy. And they don't play as many reps as everybody. So they're having a higher hit rate.
Amy, one of the things that we all saw on Saturday, and we've seen the last couple of Saturdays too, is the toll that the hits take on Heinrich Haarberg. He comes out with a bloody mouth, and then Jeff Sims comes in, and we know what happened there. Are we at that point right now where every hit that Heinrich Haarberg takes, that you're praying to God that he gets up because of that quarterback situation right now with Nebraska, and given, again, going back to the turnovers, but also with what we feel pretty good about what's behind Heinrich Haarberg on how that thing could take a major hit?
Yeah, this team has had the worst luck with injuries, and it looks like it's leaking over into basketball too. Yeah, he also just needs to learn how to avoid some of that. You can't avoid it all, but he's got to learn to get out of those situations. You have to as a quarterback. And so I was sitting in the chair getting my hair done, and I hear the announcer say, Jeff Sims is coming in. I'm like, what? Hold on. And I like ran back over to my laptop to see what the heck was going on. But yeah, he's got to avoid those situations because I don't think next time is going to be as fortunate as a bloody mouth. Like, just look around at all of his teammates.
Okay, so help me here with this, and I think there needs to be more Emmett Johnson, not just quarterback handoff, but I would like to see them put the ball in his hands through the air out of the backfield as he leaks out of the backfield. I would love to see him 17, 18 touches from here on out. But the bottom line is Nebraska once again is going to have the quarterback lead the team in rushing, and we got 4 games to turn a trend around where 6 of the 8 games this year, the quarterback has been the leading ball carrier. Why do you think, and it's almost like it's a magical number of 19, that Marcus Satterfield wants to run Harburg that much when you've got a guy that is possibly really intriguing and might be a home run hitter even more so than your quarterback in Emmett Johnson?
Yeah, I am not sure. I know that when you can't trust your running backs due to fumble issues, then yeah, okay, that makes sense to run Heinrich that much. But you see flashes of what the ceiling could be for Emmett. You also know what the basement is because we've seen that too. So I don't know. I like the prospect of running Emmett more. I like the prospect of running with Harburg. I just feel like there could be a better balance.
Yep.
But then again, I'm kind of being an armchair quarterback, but that is my job, to be an armchair quarterback. So,
No,
but yeah,
I think it's fair because, I mean, Harburg runs so stiff upright that he's going to take a pop where he's going to get knocked out for more than a series. And I don't know that you want to put him in harm's way when you've got a guy like Emmett Johnson who now for 2 straight weeks has shown you that he can do what you ask of him. And now I want more. So I don't know why the magic number of 19 for the quarterback carries is still such a thing.
yeah, I'm not sure.
That's a good that's a good question today because you are on a nice little run here of Mondays asking a very thought-provoking question of the head man.
I don't know if they're thought provoking. I just think that he uses my questions to go on one of his rule rambles.
Oh, so you guys might be in cahoots here.
No, I just think, well, because it's not always me. Like, he had a really, really, really long answer off of a simple question a few weeks ago. It's not just me.
All right.
I think he knows what he wants to talk about, and if there's a question that comes even remotely close, then he'll find a way to fit it in.
That is very, very true, and he'll speak here in a couple of hours. Amy, welcome back. Thank you. Safe travels up to East Lansing.
Thank you. You're not going to say anything to me about KU's win over Oklahoma? Wow.
Jimmy did already.
He didn't say anything to me.
They lost to Illinois yesterday in Champaign in the Maui charity exhibition.
You know, that's fine. But Oklahoma? Come on.
Well,
Nothing?
Hey, I know if you were there, you would have been throwing the goalpost into Potter Lake.
I'm too short to try to tear down a goalpost.
Oh, come on.
Now I'm going to work on that visual.
I wouldn't be able to get up there unless somebody put me up there. Like, that's just not. I'm like 5'3". Like, that just no.
Didn't they used to, like, if there was ever a chance to storm the field and tear down the goalpost, like they would grease the goalpost too? Do we know if that's still a thing? Do they still grease the goalposts?
They never did it when I was in school because they were.
I don't know if it's Lawrence just in general.
When I was in school, what they started doing is they started actually tearing them down before the students could get to them. Because my senior year, they did it 3 times.
Okay.
Well, Amy, Jimmy upheld the Rock Chalk Jayhawk today. He is.
I see it.
Yes, he has. He has talked openly about the the victory and being in the stadium. So
And I
congratulations.
just thawed out about 2 hours ago.
Yeah, I'm sure it was really cold. It was really cold when I got off the plane last night because it
Yeah.
was 80 degrees in New Orleans this week.
Yeah,
When you win, you don't feel a
You
thing.
didn't have to flex like
rub
that.
that in.
No. Hey,
No, I absolutely did.
yeah, I know you did. All right. Thank you. We'll talk to you next week.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
That's Amy Just from the Lincoln Journal-Star.
16 East Lansing on Saturday, by the way.
She never got to tear down any
Hey,
goalposts
you know
because they
what?
were so
Hey, us
god-awful.
wimps, and I'll include myself. We just got a couple more days. Telling you, I am husked that the weather's going to be really good Friday night for
Yeah.
the quarterfinal playoffs.
Shorts for a playoff game? Not quite.
I don't know. This is the first day I've worn pants in a while. I put on jeans.
Oh yeah, good for you.
I'm
Look
like,
at you.
I'm like, it feels weird having things on my leg.
Yeah.
I thought usually you wait till the holidays before
lean
the
into it.
jeans come out.
Yeah, it was just a little bit cold, but I haven't pulled out the winter jacket yet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. I think I only remember seeing that like once.
All right. We'll come back. We'll put a wrap on this show. Matt Rule speaks later this morning. Probably more of what he said afterwards about talking about just one more win, and also maybe an update on Omar Brown. Maybe Rule will also give an update on Tominaga. Hey, I know why you guys are assembled here. This guy that plays basketball.
Yeah.
If this was football, he would have come out. We would have taped it up. He would have gone right back in.
Casey's a tremendous player.
It's mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
The best way to catch all the action is on 1620 The Zone. And no line for the bathroom.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
From sports medicine to spine, bone, and joint problems, Nebraska Medicine is your home for the region's most comprehensive orthopedic care. Our specialists have the unmatched expertise to diagnose and treat common and complex problems, with surgery being a last resort. With multiple locations, our leading care is miles ahead, yet close to home. For orthopedic advances, this is where you begin. Visit nebraskamed.com/ortho.
Home is with you wherever that may be.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
At EasyCater, we know ordering food for work can get complicated pretty fast.
We're going to need breakfast for the entire office on Thursday.
Janet wants really nice bagels.
Make sure some are gluten-free.
Make sure they have great coffee.
Can there also be waffles?
Janet has a hard stop at 9:30.
$15 a person
I'm going to need
max.
itemized receipts for this.
Pumpernickel.
It's just going to grab it all. Fine.
Company breakfast? Just use EasyCater. Food for work delivered on time as ordered with a huge variety. 100,000 restaurants, one platform. Order 24/7 at easycater.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. Visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Does eating at home have you singing the blues? Stop by Cobb's at the Shadow Lake Town Center, 180th and Center, or 72nd and Jones to grab a delicious pizza, burgers, fresh salad, and some tasty charred wings. They even offer keto crusts and an extensive variety of shareable appetizers. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. Cobb's, now with 3 convenient locations to serve you. Shadow Lake Town Center, 180th and Center, and 72nd and Jones. Click cobbspizza.com to see the menu, pizza, and so much more.
1620 The Zone.
It's Saturday Night Live's sitting there waiting to be make it off. But if it's Foo Fighters, they were on this week. I'll have to check out the Foo Fighters. I love the Foo Fighters.
They've started to have pop-in celebrities. Christopher Walken this weekend, and he came in. I don't know if you have time to bring it up real quick, Jimmy. So, have you ever heard? There was a debate a long time ago on Saturday Night Live that Christopher Walken mispronounced the Foo Fighters.
I remember he mispronounced Christina Aguilera, the episode of the famous skit.
So, do you have it?
Let's see. One day, this has got to be it. Let me see if I can get this up.
Okay. Now, listen to how he pronounces Foo Fighters.
I mean, you might have to stall for a little bit.
Okay.
I scroll ahead, but yeah.
All right.
Does he say,
no,
ladies and gentlemen?
So, and he was funny. I mean, he's classic.
All right.
Okay, so just listen to how he says it. The band says this is the correct way that you pronounce the name of their group.
Okay.
Oh, no.
That's not it?
Yeah.
He's on the other night.
Yes, he did. He goes the Foo Fighters.
The
Foo
Foo
Fighters. And everybody's like, oh, he mispronounced it.
That's the way to do it.
And Dave Grohl said, nope, that's how you pronounce our name.
So now if I ever say I'm going to go to a Foo Fighters concert, I said the Foo Fighters.
The Foo Fighters, yes.
Hey, if there's one band that you pay respect by saying it the right way, it's the Foo Fighters. So I have no problem changing that.
All right, crossovers coming up next. We're back in tomorrow at 6. Michigan State week. Matt Rule speaks later this morning. I'm on Tominaga. And it's a week from basketball around here, which could be a pretty good year. For Jimmy, for Nick, I'm Gary. Connor Happer Show's next.